Steve Davis. We bring him now in for the headlines. It's your flu game. You had a little bit of voice problem last week. Now you're fighting through it, but we appreciate you joining us all the same.
Playing hurt, man. No problem here. Always good to be with you, Sam.
Well, obviously, not what you were looking for at Toyota Stadium. A 3-1 loss to the Chicago Fire. A 1-0 loss to Vancouver. The first time since 2009 the Dallas has lost their first 2 home games. And I guess the question is, now that we've got those in our rearview mirror, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from those 2 losses, be it the results or how they actually got there?
The biggest takeaway is that this thing is just a work in progress. I think we probably lost just a little bit of perspective that the coach and the technical staff had brought in 17 new players, and we're still seeing debuts. Tonight we got 2 more, so that'll make 8 debuts in the first month. So it was always going to be a work in progress. I think we're going to see a little different formation tonight. But look, it's March, Sam. March is not the time you start looking at the schedule. I mean, looking at the table. You really start caring about that. I really start caring about it around June. Before that, it's just a fool's errand. That said, you don't want to get so far behind. You don't want your horse to get so far behind in the race that you can't make up the gap, right?
Yeah.
But as far as really paying attention to that stuff, look, if they can find a way to grab a point at least tonight in Utah, and I think they've got a good chance to do that for reasons we'll discuss, and then come back home next week and play what might be the worst team in Major League Soccer in Sporting Kansas City. Not saying it's going to be easy, but if you could do that, there's your plan. Now you walk out of March 2-2-2, go into April 2-2-2, and you know what? That wouldn't be that bad.
Well, let's talk about that lineup tonight that has those changes. It's Michael Collodi in net. You've got Marco Farfan, Osazi Uriguide, Sebastian Ibiaga, and Shaq Moore on the back line. Romero Benetti, Sebastian Lachette, and Patrickson in the midfield. Lucho Costa, Pedro Musa, Leo Chu up top for the Toros tonight. Obviously, you mentioned it, a couple of debuts. Just in general, that's Leo Chu and Collodi. Let's start with Collodi. He is getting the start from Martin Paz, who is away on international duty with Indonesia. We talked to Eric Quill a little bit about it yesterday, asking how do you get a guy ready for that? And Quill, to nobody's surprise, was very optimistic about Collodi's chances.
Look, you don't have a guy on the roster like that unless you believe in him. And Eric Quill has known Michael Collodi for a long time. He's been in the academy. I hate that Martin Paz is missing this one, but I love that FC Dallas is sort of getting back to its roots and doing so in a big way tonight, which is play the academy kids. Jesse Gonzalez was Dallas's last homegrown keeper to start a match. I believe, at least he was certainly the last one to play any kind of a significant role, and I thought he was on his way to big things, but he just couldn't keep himself squared away in his personal life. So now it's Collodi, and you've got a backup keeper for a reason. I think he's good with his feet. He's a good shot stopper. He's not only played in big games fairly recently, and talking about that North Texas SC playoff run last year, he was actually very good in those games. So I think he's got a good calm presence about him, and I don't expect him to be Martin Paz, but I expect him to be very good tonight.
Yeah, last year's MLS Next Pro Keeper of the Year, and there's another part of him that we'll discuss in our third segment when we talk a little bit more tactics and things that Quill was very interested in, but we won't. That's what we call a tease here in the business. Well, moving from the very back of the lineup to the very front, it's Leo Chu, who is not a rookie. He has played for Seattle for the last few seasons, but he makes his MLS debut tonight for FC Dallas. And again, we asked about Leo Chu yesterday because he was getting a little bit more time. And Eric Quill had a very, I thought, interesting response when we asked him about Chu's higher involvement in training.
Yeah, we said, look, we haven't seen Leo Chu. What happened between he can't even get on the field as a substitute, and now he starts? And Quill's answer was very simple. They had a conversation, and he laid out what they need from Leo Chu, probably in terms of effort, because we know that's what Eric Quill is all about. And he said that Leo Chu responded. He's been bringing it, and I think it's great when a coach demands something and you get it in practice. And I think it's terrific when you then reward that player and other players. Okay, well, he was good in practice, and he was really, he's working hard out there, and now he's starting. So I should be able to do that too. So I think it's a good message, and I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight.
Definitely a good sign when a coach comes in and asks something of a veteran player, and he gets it pretty much almost immediately. Well, the eagle-eared, I should say, of our listeners noticed that we read off 3 names in the midfield, Romero, Lachette, and Patrickson, as opposed to the standard 2 we've been seeing. And admittedly, we don't know exactly how it's going to shape up, but Steve, you have been banging the midfield has been overrun drum for a long time since we started the season, Now that we see Patrickson probably going to play alongside Sebastian Lletget in some way, what do you think that's going to do for Dallas as they try to shore up what's been one of their biggest struggles?
Well, I think it's going to be a midfield diamond. We'll see. Sort of looking at the personnel and understanding what Eric Quill might be trying to do. So, yeah, you do get an extra person. excuse me, Sam, in the midfield as long as you can do that diamond correctly. And it's sort of not a really common formation. Philadelphia used it and used it to really a lot of success. RSL back in the day, where they're playing tonight, they're at Rio Tinto. They used it back when Jason Christ led them to a championship. So we've seen it before, not that much. Everybody's got to be locked in. They've got to understand their roles. One of the things that has to happen, though, is as you play that diamond midfield, is Lucho Costa, of course, will be at the top of the diamond. You can't get caught defending with just 7. You got 2 front runners up there. Somebody's got to be tracking back and filling that space where the opposing central midfielders is distributing balls. Whether it's Leo Chu pulling back in or Pedro Musa or Lucho, somebody's got to fill it in. You can't have 3 guys cheating and staying up front.
You mentioned Lucho. He's coming off what I think we all pretty much agree was his least best game in Dallas color so far, albeit an extremely small sample size. Coming into tonight, do you think that what we see from him tonight is going to be a big indicator of just, his response to what we saw was not a very good game last week?
Yeah, I don't know if it's fair to pick on Lucho Acosta for that one. He didn't have a good game. A lot of players didn't have a good game last week. Tactically, it just didn't work out. So, you hope that sort of solving the midfield problem is also solving whatever Lucho Acosta problem. I'm not saying there's a big problem there, but you hope that stuff sort of, works in tandem. And we talked about the other day on the podcast, Sam, about how if you can change formations, you're probably solving multiple problems at once. Because right now they don't have a good second winger. With Anderson Julio out again tonight, still getting that visa situation sorted out, and so he can get his green card. They don't have one good winger who's been getting it done for them. So now you adopt this different formation, and what have you done? You sort of minimize the role of wingers. And I think if you can get a more cohesive system going in there, you'll see a better Lucho Acosta. Those things work together, I think.
And as Steve mentioned, the FC Dallas Agenda podcast every Wednesday on the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed. Please hit subscribe, and you'll hear all sorts of great insights like that one you just heard, though in much more long form. I know that a lot of people are going to look at the starting 20 or the 20 tonight for Dallas, and they're going to see number 55 Ka'ike, and I think they're going to get really excited. The $4 million signing from Gremio is available tonight. But before we talk about anything he can offer later in the broadcast, I think we probably might need to temper the expectations of a 19-year-old who's only played one senior game in his career.
Yeah, we'll see. You know what? With Ka'ike, let's just hang the big bright "we'll see" sign up, and let's pop the light on. We'll see. I hope that what we see is that Eric Quill says, he's a ball winner. This team needs a hammer. They need a destroyer in there. They need somebody who can disrupt the other team's midfield regularly. They need somebody who just lives to go win the ball and then find Acosta or find one of the other connectors who can then find Acosta. That's exactly what they need. Is he going to be that guy? I think he might be. Now, he's got to be able to do other things too. That's why we say we'll see. Yeah,
it's one of those, let's just reserve judgment, but there's no reason not to be excited, but reasonably so.
We'll see.
Well, let's talk about RSL a little bit. They have had a campaign not dissimilar to Dallas. They have 2 wins. Dallas could just as easily have 2 wins if Logan Farrington's goal in Colorado goes in. Sorry, Ryan. I can't resist.
You're already trying to pull Ryan off sides on that one.
He doesn't have headphones on. He can't hear me. It's not like I'm standing 2 feet in front of him. But they've had a kind of a similar season where their goal differential is right around the even line. Obviously tonight they're missing 2 big pieces in Diego Luna and Dominic Marchuk. We'll talk about their lineup in segment 3, but I don't really know how they're going to score goals tonight. They might be able to defend, but scoring may be a problem.
Yeah, I almost feel like you're underselling it when you say they're missing 2 big pieces because, Dallas missing 2 big pieces, missing like Musa and Lucho Acosta, that would be a lot more than missing 2 pieces.
Just tossing the towel.
Right. And so that's sort of the same way with RSL because Diego Luna is playing so well. Last week, 2-1 win over Houston, down in Texas. Texas, a place that RSL had won a lot. Diego Luna creates the first goal by slipping in a wonderful little through ball just outside the penalty area. Then he scores an absolute banger of a goal in the second half off his head. He was my pick for MLS Player of the Week, in fact. And it went to the guy in Minnesota who got 2 far post tap-ins. And I'm not bitter that everybody just saw 2 goals on the score sheet.
You sound totally fine.
Right, but the point is, Diego Luna is really getting it done this year, and now he's with the national team. Might even start tomorrow as they play out in Los Angeles. So Dallas is catching a break tonight. Now, of course, whoever's out there shooting for RSL is going to be shooting against not Martin Paz. So both teams missing some important pieces tonight.
Also worth noting, Emeka Anelli, who we weren't sure was, he's been the captain. He's been starting out tonight. He's a late scratch with back spasms. That means RSL is down to just 8 subs tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we dive into the game in our third segment. But that is Steve Davis, who cannot be stopped by cold, back spasms, bad voice. I'm not sure what could stop him. Hopefully we never find out, but we'll see you again here in a few minutes.
Sounds good, Sam.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, we'll have the sounds of this week's match. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Logan Farrington, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date and location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me. We'll talk about the lineups, the tactics, the storylines, everything you need ahead of tonight's matchup out in Sandy, Utah. And while I have a moment, let me remind you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, which is your hub for everything FC Dallas audio. Of course, the signature post-game show, which goes live after every game, win, lose, or draw. You get everything you need in about 30 minutes or less. No problem there. You get every analysis that you could possibly need about the 90 minutes or so that has transpired. But this year, we've added the FC Dallas Agenda podcast. That drops every Wednesday in your podcast feed. Ryan, Steve, and Garrett Melso, the FC Dallas Insider, they break down all the important stories. We do game recaps, game previews. You get great interviews. Just this week, FC Dallas legend Mark Dodd, or Dallas Burn legend Mark Dodd, if you will, joined the podcast for a long-ranging interview with Ryan. He talks all about the current goalkeeping situation, his career. It's a fantastic listen, about 20-plus minutes. Don't listen to it right now. Listen to it after our game's over. But what you're going to want to do if you do want to hear it, search FC Dallas Radio Network on your podcast provider of choice. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our content when it goes live. But let's get you to the sounds of this week's match. And this week, it features head coach Eric Quill and right back Shaq Moore. They discuss going back on the road after this recent home stretch, adapting with no Martin Paz in net, Kaike's first week in training, and even a little bit of hat chat.
Yeah, it's on the backs of the last 2 performances not being what we want them to be. It's important that we're going there with a 3-point mindset, and we've got to keep climbing this table. I think we're better than where we sit in the table for sure. So it's just a game where we got to be hungry and aggressive to go compete and go there with a winning mentality. We got two great goalkeepers backing Martin up, and Collodi and Antonio, and they're this is about opportunity. This happens in the professional game in these windows where you're missing guys. It's new opportunity for others, and both are ready. Oh, he's just got a great profile about him. He's got pace. He's got hunger in his belly. He destroys the game like a high-level 6. And he's a vertical thinker and passer. All the things that we look for in that profile. So glad he's here. He's got a big, bright future ahead of him. And now it's just getting through the adaptation phase, and hopefully that takes no time at all. Now it's whatever my arm reaches for first in my locker. So sorry, I wish there was more to the storyline there.
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, we got two, tough results at home, so we want to, change the script a little bit and go on the road and look for 3 points that'll, give us more confidence and look up towards the table. Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, whoever comes in, they'll be ready. Us guys in the back will help him out, give him the utmost confidence to go out there and play. And we have the 100% belief that he'll do a good job.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis join me to help break down the lineups and tactics for tonight's matchup. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And a spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa. Enjoy 36 holes of championship golf and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Leggett, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. Got about 25 minutes from kickoff at America First Field, so let's get you the starting lineups for tonight's matchup. And those starting lineups this evening are brought to you by Advocare. We'll start first with the home side Real Salt Lake and fifth-year head coach Pablo Mastroeni. It's Rafa Cabral in net, Sam Junca, Brian Vera, Justin Glad, and Philip Quinton along the back line. Nelson Palacio and Brian Ojeda in the midfield. Diogo Gonçalves, Pablo Ruiz, and Ari Pillol are supporting Forster Ajago up top for Real Salt Lake. And now let's hear the starting lineup for first-year head coach Eric Quill at FC Dallas.
Michael Collodi, goalkeeper, Frisco, Texas.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Sebastian Ibiaga, center back, Duke University.
Osaze Origide, center back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Marco Farfan, left back, from Portland, Oregon.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Sebastian Leggett, center midfield, San Francisco, California.
Patrickson, mediocampista, Ecuador.
Luciano Costa, midfielder, I'm from Argentina.
Liu Chu, winger, Porto Alegre, Brazil.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
And the reserves tonight for Dallas: Lalo Abubakar, Antonio Carrera, Siki and Sabling, Padrino, Show, Logan Farrington, Enzo Newman, Kaike, and Bernard Kamungo. Now we bring in the voices of tonight's matchup, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Ryan, as you just heard there from the voices themselves, the lineup looks a little bit different tonight. Let's start with the big change. We brought in an extra midfielder after 4 weeks of asking how are they going to fix the midfield. Eric Quill has responded by saying he's going to bring in Patrickson, what we presume to be next to Sebastian Lletget. We heard Steve's thoughts on the change a little bit earlier. What are you thinking of this lineup tonight for FC Dallas?
Yeah, I think after the last couple of results, something had to change, and Eric Quill made that clear in his press conference. He said, guys that haven't been playing, they need to be ready. They need to show me something this week in training. Obviously, Patrickson was one that did that. Leo Chu, another one who's into the lineup for his work in training. But I think tactically, this gives Dallas a little bit more against the ball, and that's what they've been needing with the sort of the number 10 space where you think Lucho Acosta is going to be receiving the ball is actually Dallas's weakness defensively. So adding a third midfielder in there with Patrickson alongside Lletget and Ramiro should hopefully stop up that midfield well for when Real Salt Lake is coming on the counter.
And as well, obviously, we've talked a lot about Ramiro Benetti so far, just Ramiro. He's playing well enough to earn the mononym, Steve. But he has been a very good defensive midfielder, but that hasn't really helped with the offense. What does bringing him back and playing what looks to be more of a traditional 6 in a single pivot do to help his skill set and help the team as well?
Now, sometimes I think, Sam, if you give one player a defined role, it just sort of helps create some clarity. And in this system, in the diamond, he's going to sit and just screen. It's not a double pivot where, if Lletget goes and I stay, but if I might go and then Lletget stays, it just creates clarity in his mind. He's there to screen. He's there to win the ball. He's not the fastest guy. And he's not the best at covering ground. So I think just giving him that role and giving him and not really even expecting him to have to get forward and then have to get back in time, I think that might help him a little bit.
Meanwhile, on the other end, Ryan, obviously we've talked a lot about what this brings Dallas, but for every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction here. What do you think that Dallas is going to have to be very careful about as they change what we presume to be formations tonight with this lineup change?
Yeah, I think they have to quickly settle into the responsibilities of each position here. Obviously, their identity, the way they want to play, isn't necessarily changed. They still want to be vertical. They still want to be aggressive. But now the responsibilities for each different position are tweaked slightly. So Patrickson, can he stay switched on defensively? That's been something that he's struggled with, and he's got defensive responsibilities. Can Lletget continue what he's done defensively, but also pop wide when he needs to? Those two center midfielders, either side of Ramiro, are going to have a different role, and the fullbacks are going to have to provide width. We're going to have to see them get up and down the field for the team to have any width in the attack.
And I tell you what, whoever's close to Palacio, that guy hits a really good long ball. Now, last year, Colorado sort of became a little bit more of a possession team, but I think without Diego Luna and today, and this year they've gone a little bit more direct. Sometimes they go route one direct, sometimes they hit the big diagonals, and it's Delgado and Lletget that have to be sort of ready and on point for those, because if you get Palacio in particular the chance to get his head up and hit those big diagonals, that's where you get in trouble.
And if we're assuming a diamond midfield tonight, Steve, one of the things that you will have to concern yourself with is width. Ryan mentioned it about Sebastian Lletget specifically. How much pressure does this put on guys like Shaq Moore and Marco Farfan to help provide that width, but also maintain that defensive consistency?
That's a good question, but it sort of depends on what they want to do with the ball. Look, Dallas has been outpossessed every match so far, and that's okay. Quill wants to be a little bit more direct. We know that LAFC has won championships, without ever wanting the ball, really. So you can play it that way. So the answer is, if you want those guys to get up the field, you have to possess the ball a little bit and give them the opportunity to get up there. If you're just going to try to hit in transition, you can try to be a little bit more direct, you're going to attack down the middle, then it's not as necessary for Farfan and Shaq to get up the field. So it just depends on what they're trying to do with the ball.
Yeah, and I think during the week and even in the postgame show, we talked about how well Shaq Moore did defensively last week. So I went to him at training and said, hey, man, great job locking down the right side, just talking to him about the game. And he was really, sort of begrudging to take the compliment because, man, I just wasn't good with the ball. I wasn't good going forward. I didn't help the team. So as good as he was defensively, he himself wanted to be better going forward. And I think this formation gives him every opportunity to do so.
It's also really encouraging to hear. We've heard a lot about player accountability over the last few weeks, and to see the players really stressing it is a nice perk. Speaking of player accountability, let's talk a little bit about Leo Chu. Steve mentioned in the first segment about how Quill basically gave him a target. He's met it, and now he's getting some playing time tonight. Ryan, you've looked into a little bit of what Leo Chu is good at. What do you think we can expect from the Brazilian archer tonight?
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of a different role than he ever played in his time in Seattle. If it is more of a front two, and you think it might suit Anderson Julio or Logan Farrington long term, but tonight it's Leo Chu's opportunity. Looking at what he did in his time in Seattle, he was excellent against the ball. Really good defensive numbers, good assist numbers. Now, scoring goals wasn't really his forte over the last 12, 24 months or so, but being in the attacking three, he's going to have to track back. He's going to have to do some of that running for Lucho and for Petar Musa. And so far, based on his numbers in MLS and his time with Seattle, he's shown that he can do that. I was a little bit surprised to hear that, maybe he wasn't fully applying himself in training or showing that side of his game, but it seems like he stepped up this week, and this is his opportunity to seize.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what might develop out of this, because I think what's going to happen is, we know Petar Musa likes to drop in a midfield. Well, as he drops in, you still have Leo Chu, who is speedy, to stretch the defense and be a threat to run in behind. And what's going to happen is one center back's going to follow Musa, one center back's got to stay home. That's going to split those guys, and at that moment, Lucho Acosta is a guy who can recognize it and find a gap in there and play somebody else through.
A big picture thing before we move on to some other topics here about specifically regarding Chu. We talked about how the coach went to him, said, hey, we need you to give us more, and he gave you more. We're early in the Eric Quill administration, Steve. Does it say anything about what we should expect from the players' buy-in from the way he coaches, that we've seen a response from a veteran MLS player, showing him that deference in that respect and elevating his game?
Yeah, it deserves to be said. You keep saying he's a veteran player. He's still a young guy. He's just been around for a little while. But yeah, absolutely. Players see it. It works the other way too, Sam. Sometimes a player isn't doing well, and he just keeps rolling, and the coach just keeps throwing him out there, and players notice that, and that's dispiriting. So yeah, it works the other ways. It works the other way too. That if somebody brings it at practice and then gets a start, then it sends a message.
Well, obviously nobody wants to hear about positives after the last couple of home weeks. But last week, Dallas did hold Vancouver to 1 goal, a team that has been scoring in bunches and beating teams literally up and down the continent, Ryan. Are you encouraged by that performance last week? I know the result is what it is, but the defensive performance specifically from Dallas, does that give you encouragement going forward?
Yes and no. I think, Vancouver was very happy once they got the 1 goal to also defend and not push numbers forward too much. So I think, the feeling that people took away from that game was largely negative, and I think I would, concur with that. But there was some positive performances. I mentioned Shaq Moore already. One other note from what you guys were just talking about is Dallas actually came into this game tied for second fewest in all of Major League Soccer for players used, different players that have entered the game in MLS play so far. Columbus Crew just 14, but Dallas just 16. So now there's an opportunity, 3 new players into the lineup, the likes of Kaique and Show on the bench, to start to get a look at some of the depth of the team and also giving different guys opportunities. It should be exciting to see.
And, we talked about some of the new players, but we have yet to mention this segment, Michael Colodi, the guy in net. And obviously a lot of focus has been on, can he keep the goals out? But, Steve, yesterday Eric Quill raved about his ability to help build and set up and do those things offensively. For a team that didn't have a shot on target last week, does having a guy like Colodi who can launch balls forward give them another tool in their toolbox?
Yeah, it does. It's funny, Sam, because right before you said that, I thought of that moment when we saw Colodi in training knock one about 70 yards. And I think it's a nice night out in Sandy, Utah tonight. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of wind there, but if there is any wind, he can hit 180 or 90 yards, and I think that might be able to catch RSL a little asleep on one of those, because it's not something they've seen before, unless they've really done a great job of scouting North Texas soccer last year. Because Colodi, with either foot, can hit a really good ball. He's really good with his feet in general.
Well, they did get plenty of chances as they won the title, and he won Goalkeeper of the Year in that league. But let's talk about RSL a little bit. Let's start with their own goalkeeper. Rafa Cabral came in this year as an off-season addition, but it's been a little bit of a rocky adaptation for him, Ryan, and that's a place that feels like, with Zach McMath out with injury, this could be a spot where Dallas can maybe crack through and get some goals.
I'm interested to hear you say that, because I think he's actually been pretty solid for them in goal. I think McMath and the goalkeeper, whose name is escaping me now, that left last year, their homegrown goalkeeper, both were
Gavin
kind
Beavers,
of Gavin Beavers. There you go, up and down at times, and particularly McMath really had a stinker when he came to Toyota Stadium last year. Gave up 2 really bad goals. So I think the veteran Brazilian has been solid in goal, and I think all they need is a steady presence, and neither of the keepers last year really gave them that, even in a really good season.
Yeah, I agree with them, because with Ryan here, for a team that really didn't add a lot, they lost a lot. They lost Chicho Arango. They lost Andres Gomez last year. That was in midseason. Lost Matty Crooks, who I think was pretty good. He was underrated in that he did the little things that helped his team, good movement and such as that. So didn't add a whole lot, but they added this guy, Rafa Cabral, and I think he's been good too. And you talk about a guy who he's nearing the end of a career, but it's a solid career that's taken him through Brazil and Italy and England, and played at the highest levels in Italy and Brazil. So I think he's done fine, and honestly, I think in goal they're a little bit better situated than they were last year.
Well, a couple players that won't be adding anything good or bad is Diego Luna, who's with the U.S. national team. Dominic Marchuk is with his national team. We've also got the late scratch of Emeka Anelli, who has, according to, I believe it's some sort of knock that he's dealing with.
Back spasms.
There we go, back spasms. Thank you very much. So this is a team that while they, if we assume Rafa Cabral competence, which y'all are more than happy to, I don't know where the goals are coming from here for Real Salt Lake. This could easily turn into one where he's got to keep out one if RSL wants to get points tonight.
Yeah, I think they put a lot of the chips in on Diego Gonçalves being a signing that hits, and last year they were hoping it would combine well with Arango, and now there's no Arango. It's all at the feet of Luna and Gonçalves, and with no Luna tonight, Gonçalves coming off of a decent performance last week. They're hoping that he can be the catalyst in attack, but he's playing behind two really inexperienced strikers. Ari Piol coming over from Australia has only played less than 20 professional games at 20 years old, and then Forster Ajago coming out of Duke by way of Nashville. They both scored 1 goal this season, so we'll see what they have on offer. They're both physical. They're both going to be a handful for the two Dallas center backs, but how much quality do they have? Can they come up with the goals? Diogo is going to have to produce for them, set up the two strikers, and see if they can finish.
Yeah, Pablo Ruiz, not a bad player. It looks like he might play out on the right. He can certainly shoot from distance, so that might be something to keep your eye on as well.
Well, something we definitely always keep our eye on is the keys to the game, which this season are brought to you by Toyota. For those, we turn our eyes to Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Well, number one key, you got to be a dog again, because something happened those last 20 minutes against Chicago, and then it was completely missing last week against Vancouver. It was that spirit that Eric Quill is working really hard to create. He wants winners who will lay it on the line for the team, who will do everything they can to get a W. He wants dogs, and he needs them tonight. Number two, you got to be aware of that long ball, because I'm telling you, I think it's coming tonight. They can't possess, but I think they're going to go some route one tonight and some of those long diagonals off Palacio. So FC Dallas can't be caught sleeping on those. And number three, they got to defend the box a little better. And both teams have had issues with this, defending crosses inside their own 6. And this one tonight might come down to which side can solve that particular issue a little bit better and defend the box just a little bit better. And those are your keys presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve. And regardless of what team shows up for FC Dallas, the good or the bad, we can guarantee there will be dogs at America First Field today, because it's Pups and Pros Day up for Real Salt Lake, as they partner with a local rescue organization to try to help some adoptable doggos get up there. And also, again, a little bit of a delayed kick today due to A, the dog parade, and B, so allow a couple players to break their Ramadan fast. So if you're expecting a direct kickoff, maybe go get a snack and come back and continue listening to our coverage here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. A note, if you are listening on Twitter, please do switch over to the FC Dallas app or to FC Dallas's YouTube channel. You'll be able to hear the full game, including halftime and postgame, on there as well. But that's going to do it for the pregame show tonight. When we return, Ryan and Steve will keep getting you ready for tonight's matchup. It's RSL versus FCD in Sandy, Utah at America First Field. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So Ryan will have a chance to vamp.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Marta Paas, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
FC Dallas is on the road again, and so far under Eric Quill, the team has taken to life away from home, taking 4 points from trips to Houston and Colorado. They're back at altitude tonight, this time in Sandy, Utah, 4,400 feet above sea level and over 1,000 miles away from Toyota Stadium, taking on Pablo Mastroeni's Real Salt Lake. I'm Ryan Figert, joined tonight, of course, on the FC Dallas Radio Network by our own Steve Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in on the FC Dallas app or over on YouTube if you're listening there. Steve, last couple of weeks we've been preaching Dallas needs a get-right game. They didn't get it against Vancouver. With Salt Lake down a couple of the key pieces, the team's road success so far, it feels like another prime opportunity.
Yeah, it might be the case that Dallas is one of these teams that is just a little bit better on the road, relatively speaking. When we talk about teams that are better on the road, they still end up having sometimes better home records. Although I'm pretty sure, as I think about it, Minnesota, Vancouver, and maybe Houston as well all had more wins last year on the road than they did at home. So Dallas might be another one of those teams because so far they've looked better on the road than they have at home.
And so on the Salt Lake side, as we mentioned, it's a good time to take the trip to Utah. They're working on replacing 56 goal contributions that they let go over the last 2 transfer windows, and now they're doing it without Emeka Eneli, without Diego Luna, no Dominic Marchuk. These are key contributors for Pablo Mastroeni. But Steve, if there's one thing we can expect from a side coached by Pablo Mastroeni, he's going to get every member of the squad up for the fight.
He's been telling us about the human spirit for as long as he's been coaching. That's just kind of his thing. And he did say something really interesting after the 2-1 win down in Houston last week by his team. He said that, you can script out a game. He's like, but the last 15 minutes, that's just where you got to dig in, and it's all about who wants it a little bit more. And, I think Dallas learned that lesson a couple of weeks ago against Chicago.
Yeah, I think Matt Doyle, the staff writer for MLSsoccer.com, calls it the tactics-free zone.
Yes, he
when
does.
It's all about the will to win. Dallas has struggled in those minutes over the past couple of weeks, and particularly against Chicago. Does that feel like a stamina thing? Does it feel like adjustments from the other side? I mean, how are you evaluating those two sort of lackluster home results over the past couple of weeks?
Well, I think those are two different ones. We talked on the podcast about how closing out games is something you have to learn as a unit. You can learn as an individual, but that unit and that set of pieces you got to learn together. And then last week I just saw something completely different because I didn't see the fire. I didn't see the spit and vinegar there. I didn't see the tactical approach. That one I think you hope is just the anomaly. It was just a stinker, and you hope you just throw it out.
Well, both teams are lined up at midfield right now. We've got a lot of cute puppies in the arms of the Salt Lake players.
How am I supposed to broadcast now? Look at that.
So distracting. But Sam Junka, of course, the former FC Dallas left back, we know is really involved in animal rescue, and he's got to be loving that program with his new team up in Salt Lake. Steve, quick hit. We've got just about a minute before we take a break, and then we'll get set for kickoff. But we expect Dallas to be in a new shape tonight. Just maybe preview the viewers what that might look like.
Diamond midfield, we think, and that's going to be Romero sitting right at the bottom of it, Lucio Acosta sitting right at the top. He's got Leggett and Patrice and Delgado on either side. It's a hard thing to sort of play, and learn on the fly. So we'll see how they adjust. It's hard to get through, though. It's hard to get through it if you do it right. So we'll see how they perform.
First look at the Diamond Dogs under Eric Quill tonight,
Well
coming
done,
up on
sir.
the other side of this break. Just about 5 minutes from kickoff, and we will step aside and be back for FC Dallas Soccer here on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend? Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa. Enjoy 36 holes of championship golf and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Ibiaga. Tonight's FC Dallas match is up next, right here on the FC Dallas app.
Well, FC Dallas is up at America First Field, 4,450 feet above sea level in Sandy, Utah tonight. Beautiful clear skies, 54 degrees at kickoff. Dallas wearing their Inferno kits, taking their lineup photo as we speak right now. That'll be all gray with red accents. RSL will be in their home uniform, the Peak Utah kit of maroon and cobalt, as they call it in Utah. Steve, it's a beautiful night for soccer, and Dallas has taken to life on the road so far under Eric Quill. It seems set up for a really exciting one tonight.
I believe it's claret and cobalt, first of all.
There you go. There, struggle with the color names.
Yeah,
Can we just do red and blue?
Well, the other one looks more white than gray to me, so what do I know? I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see how this new formation. I'm excited to see because, as you said before, it wasn't really working. They weren't really finding Lucho with enough consistency. He was wanting to roam a little bit, so this formation gives him the ability to roam, and hopefully it gives him one more connector to then find him front to back.
Debut patch on the chest of Michael Collodi, who taps his crossbar. He's decked out in all green tonight behind the Dallas back line, wearing the former number of Martin Potts, number 30, in homage to the new Dallas number 1, who's away on international duty with Indonesia ahead of a big matchup with Bahrain on Tuesday. Steve, obviously a big moment for Collodi, but we've seen him in big moments, and we're expecting that he can step in and deputize well tonight.
I mean, look, it's hard to look at somebody and know what they're thinking, but just sort of watching him bounce around out there, he looks confident. He doesn't look nervous at all. He doesn't strike you as the type to get nervous. And last year when we saw him in that North Texas playoff run that ended in a championship, never looked nervous on those games, so I think he'll be just fine.
Talked to Mark Dodd on the FC Dallas Agenda podcast this week about what it takes for a goalkeeper to step in like that, and we feel like Michael Collodi has all the minerals required up in the mountains tonight. Lucho Acosta set to take the kickoff here in just a moment. He's got the armband on once again for Dallas tonight over his left bicep. Dallas will move from right to left as we can see it here. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, wherever you're listening, on the FC Dallas app or over on YouTube.
Ryan, you sort of wonder if Lucho Acosta was tuning in as Evander stole the show up in Cincinnati today and thought, okay, that's my old spot. I'm not letting Evander show me up. You wonder if that's lit a little bit of an extra fire under him tonight.
I think if there's one thing we know about Lucho Acosta, he doesn't need much to get up for a game, but that is a little bit of extra spice tonight. As Lucho drops it back to Michael Collodi, whose first touch is to launch it long towards Petter Musa. And we get a first look at Dallas in this new formation. Leo Chu also making his Dallas debut tonight as Ibeagha plays it out of play for an RSL throw on the far side.
So the real key in this diamond defensively is that backside guy really has to tuck in.
Sam Junka getting his first touch, dropped off, and now switched across. And it does look like Philip Quinton at right back. We sort of raised an eyebrow at that when we saw the team sheet drop for Pablo Mastroeni. 6'5", 6'6" center back. He's going to be playing on the wing today, although there's no left winger, so to speak, for Dallas. Lucho Acosta setting up on that side. No one with a ton of pace to test him in behind. Here's Junka testing the Dallas back line with a teasing ball in towards Piol, headed away by Uragide.
That was that direct approach we were talking about right there. One big switch and then another big ball into the box.
Now Dallas go direct, looking for Leo Chu, won't find him. Possession turned over to the home side. Split start for RSL here. 2 wins, 2 losses in the early goings, and they did lose as well over 2 legs to Herediano of Costa Rica in Champions Cup.
Right, if you look at the way Dallas is set up defensively, they're going to really sort of try to make RSL go around the outside. They're really going to try to jam the middle, it looks like.
I'm really interested by the Philip Quinton at right back because it sort of plays into what Dallas wants to do, but it also sort of plays into what RSL wants to do because there's no winger to run at Quinton. But he's not a real threat to bring the ball forward either as he goes long here towards Ajago. Loses out to Farfan, one of the foul not given. And it's out for an RSL throw on the near side. Will be Quinton to take. Quick exchange of passes there with Ojeda, who loses out. Now Patrickson Delgado, the Ecuadorian player, on his back, and he draws the first foul of the game. And Quinton kicks the ball away after the whistle. Looks perplexed.
Sergei Borko, the referee, is going to have a little word with him. I don't think he'll show the yellow card, but you know, sometimes you see guys kick the ball away 5-10 yards, but he kicked that one all the way back to Michael Collodi.
Ball back rolling without a booking for Quinton. Collodi shown his impressive distribution in his time with North Texas SC. He came up through the academy. That was sort of his calling card, as he never really grew to a 6'2", a 6'3" that you expect for a professional goalkeeper, although someone in RSL colors showed us that doesn't necessarily have to be the case for a long time, and Nick Raimondo.
Yep, not big, but one of the best goalkeepers historically in Major League Soccer.
Peter Musa going to chase this one all the way back to the goalkeeper at the other end, and Rafa Cabral. The opposite end of his career, the veteran Brazilian, 34 years old, spent time in some of the top leagues across the world. Marcel going direct again. That one overhit and picked up by Michael Collodi.
I just think we're going to see that all night. Dallas defenders just have to be aware.
That's such a tough task as well, with a new goalkeeper behind them, to get that communication right. See, it hasn't always been perfect, even with Martin Paz in net.
You know, Paz is a better shot stopper. He's a more mature goalkeeper, but I would say that in practice you always hear Collodi's voice. You know, you can hear him out there, so he is a good communicator.
He was one of the captains for North Texas last year as well. Possession with RSL across their back line. Quinton underhit that pass. No one in Dallas colors able to put the pressure on. Leggett wins it back in midfield, does well. Takes it away from Ajago. He's up against a fellow Duke grad in Sebastian Ibeagha tonight. Might also see some time against Shaq Moore, his former teammate in Nashville. Ramiro, ball forward, finds the feet of Leo Chu. Moving through the center circle, drops off for Delgado. There's an overload on the far side for Dallas. Here's the switching ball to find Leggett. Overlap from Shaq Moore. Here's Shaq Moore towards the byline, cut back looking for Leo Chu. Good defending there from Palacio, but he can't prevent a corner. First of the game coming for Dallas.
Yeah, first time Dallas really broaches the final third and does a really good job there. Leggett, Shaq Moore working in tandem. I thought maybe Leggett had, if he had hit the early cross, it looked like he had Peter Musa making a pretty good near post run, but he ends up playing the overlap to Shaq Moore, and they get a corner kick out of it.
Lucho Acosta to take on the far side. Outswinging service, we expect. Left arm raised for Lucho. Plenty of targets to aim at here. Lifts it in towards the penalty spot, and bounces around, appeals for a handball.
Yep,
but it's a handball against FC Dallas. Couldn't quite see whose arm was raised.
I think even Boyko, the referee, got a laugh out of that one because I feel like everybody was appealing on both sides.
Every time the ball hits a hand in the box, it's mayhem. Everyone's trying to find the referee, but it was Leggett up off his upper arm, off the sleeve.
Yeah, the ball just took a little bit of an awkward bounce in there, sort of bounced up and hit him in that upper arm area on the left side.
RSL go direct, can't keep possession. Now it's turned over to Dallas. Marco Farfan makes the run up the left. Lucho Acosta tries to leave it for Leo Chu. Not quite on the same page. First minutes on the field for Leo Chu this season. First minutes with Lucho Acosta. Chemistry will take time to develop, but Acosta familiar in playing behind a tandem of strikers over his time in Cincinnati. Delgado, here's Musa, lay off to Leggett. Spread wide again for Shaq Moore. Got plenty of targets to aim at. He cuts back for Ramiro. Ramiro, loose ball in midfield. Can't find Lucho. And now a foot race going the other way. Diogo Gonçalves, the number 10 for RSL, drives at Ramiro. Ball in behind, and too much on it. Intended for Jago, but picked up by Collodi.
Yeah, Ramiro makes a mistake there because he's got to understand that without a double pivot, I mean, he's the guy. He is the cover. You know, you got to recognize when you have cover and when you are the cover. And when you are the cover, you got to recalibrate your choices.
A lot of early joy for Shaq Moore. Here he is putting a ball in behind for Lucho. Lucho trying to bring it out of the sky in behind the back line. Couldn't quite get the first touch right, but a thumbs up towards Shaq Moore for the service.
Yeah, it looked like he timed the run really well, too.
Through to Rafa Cabral. Ball into midfield. Nelson Palacio. U22 signing out of Colombia. Pretty good ball winner. What they hope that Kaique might be for Dallas going forward on the bench tonight for what would be a potential debut. Eric Quill back in the red hat tonight after no luck with the white hat last week against Vancouver. Claims there's not much thought that goes into picking the hat. I don't know if we believe him. Even at the top of the game, everybody's got their superstitions. 7.5 minutes in, scoreless in Sandy. Dallas taking on Pablo Mastroeni's Real Salt Lake in week 5 of the MLS season. Philip Quinton on the ball. Out at right back tonight for RSL.
Yeah, I think the big center back playing is a makeshift right back. I think Dallas is happy to let him have the ball out there. He's not much of a threat.
Switched over to the far side. Now here's Diogo Gonçalves. Past Leggett, but couldn't pick out the pass for the striker. Jago making the run.
Really good job there, Ibiaga reading the passing lane.
Now switching ball out to the near side. Pablo Ruiz, the number 7, brings it down. Ball off his left foot. Intended again for Jago in behind, but Collodi's been busy just picking it up as it runs through with too much power on it.
And neither one of these teams really want much of the ball tonight. They both want to go pretty direct.
Ruiz, who missed back-to-back seasons with big knee injuries. A player that has a ton of quality that we haven't really seen much in RSL colors. Farfan tries to bend the ball in behind, but blocked out a play right on the halfway line for a Dallas throw. Ruiz attentive to his defensive duties well early on for RSL. Trying to help out Philip Quinton, center back playing right back. Patrickson there with a loose pass. Intended for Farfan, but straight out of play.
Dallas has been okay so far. It's still early, but you know that's what we saw too much of last week. Just poor passing.
Turnover by RSL, presents it to Musa, finds the run of Leo Chu out ahead of him. Leo Chu wants a foul, not given. And RSL clear their lines, but looks like Jago's offside.
Sergei Boyko usually doesn't like to call a lot of fouls. I feel like I saw that same play, that same action in the Minnesota-LA game today, always called. Guy gets his hand up and gets into somebody's face that way.
There's Musa along the left side, shielding it away. He's dropped deep here off the front line, not trying to combine with Patrickson. Nice interchange, 1-2, finds Lucho, now Leggett into the 18. Ball looking for Leo Chu's cut out, but there's a good combination. And now a chance on the counter going the other way. It's 1v1, Uragide up against Piol. Uragide able to just slow him up as reinforcements arrive defensively. Uragide still defending against Piol, who's held it up. As now Dallas gets back in numbers.
A really good job there. Uragide just delaying, just stalling, waiting for reinforcements.
Felt like one of those moments Dallas has to understand the balance of committing numbers forward. Nearly got caught 1v1 going the other way. Playing in a new shape tonight for the first time under Eric Quill.
Well, the thing is that changes the shape behind the ball. What they call the rest defense, and you've seen it a couple of times. You're right that where Dallas is a little caught out because of it.
Quinton picks it up near Eric Quill's technical area on the near side. Ball into the midfield for Ojeda. RSL number 6 closed down by Lucho Acosta. Back to Quinton. Dallas had been defending in a 4-4-2, to your point, Steve, all season. Now it looks like more of a 4-3-3 defensively. With Lucho given freedom to roam off the ball. Ebiaga, nice pass out of the back there. Clearance turned good ball into the feet of Sebastian Lletget.
Yeah, it's a really narrow 4-3-3. Again, Dallas wants them to make RSL go around the outside.
They've been looking for Leo Chu in behind a couple of times. Hasn't come off just yet, but he's the guy with real pace amongst the front line, with Anderson Julio missing the reunion with RSL tonight, unfortunately. Second straight game he's been out, getting his green card down in Ecuador.
Yeah, I heard from some friends up in Salt Lake that the fans were really looking forward to seeing him. He really was a beloved figure there.
Dallas will hope to get him back next week against Kansas City at home. Switching ball out to the near side for RSL and Ruiz. Overlap coming from Justin Glad, who might be filling in at right back now. Good cross swung in all the way through. Gonzalez will retrieve it on the far side. Gonzalez into midfield, left by Palacio, looking for a Jago. And now Dallas maybe a chance to counter through Leo Chu. He's got Musa, he's got Lucho alongside of him. Poked ahead into the feet of Lucho. Lucho Acosta tries to find Musa, bounces back towards Leo Chu. Dallas there, trying to break with 3. Coming up empty that time up the field. Musa just clapping his hands, encouraging the team there. It's going to take a little bit of time to sort of figure out the angles, the chemistry amongst this front 3 in this new shape.
Yeah, and of those front 3, though, excuse me, who was the first one to really hustle back and help out in defense? That was Pedro Musa. We've seen that a lot this year.
Plenty of time on the ball for RSL in their own half here.
And I just mentioned that, Ryan, because I said in the pregame, you can't have 3 guys cherry picking up there.
Ball in behind from Quinton. Too much on it, intended for Piol. And not for the first time or the third time even. 4th or 5th time, Colodey's come out to pick the ball up off his line. I think that's got to be good for a keeper making his debut, just getting those easy touches in early.
He just doesn't look nervous a bit to me.
Ebiaga finds Uriguide into midfield for Delgado. Pops it wide for Farfan. Back into the Ecuadorian. Big opportunity for him. His first start under Eric Quill. Another exchange of passes with Farfan. Got his head up, looking for options. Last touch off of RSL as he was looking for Lucho.
Delgado would almost give it the ball again. And a minute ago he got a little fancy, in a spot where he probably didn't need to. You just got to be a little bit more ball secure.
Interesting role for Delgado tonight as he's played on the wing for Eric Quill, but he's been a center midfielder throughout his career. Seems like a role that would be tailor-made for his strengths. As Musa wins a throw from Quinton.
In the diamond, you're on the wing some, but you're really sort of splitting the baby there. You're half a center midfielder and half a wing.
Musa switching ball. Good work from the referee to play dodgeball there as it breaks for Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore returns it to Musa here, 20 yards from goal. Back heel into Shaq Moore inside the 18 now. Gets his left foot around the cross and keeps it in play, but it bounces all the way through and out for a throw on the other side.
Shaq Moore had a head of steam there, and he ends up with the ball on the incorrect foot because he's obviously just not going to hit across as well with his left foot as his right.
I'll say credit to him for keeping it in play.
Yeah.
Dallas putting the pressure on a little bit higher up the field there for the moment. RSL play through that pressure, and now out the other side. Quinton brings it up the RSL right.
Dallas playing a new pattern. RSL with a bunch of mix and match pieces. The game really hasn't had established a pattern except for what they just saw, the big switching ball that they do hit really effectively.
Here's Junca now measuring across. Didn't get it right. Easy for Michael Colodi. Almost said Martin Pass. Michael Colodi to come and catch.
But you can see what RSL is doing. Big switching ball and then hit it immediately into the penalty area. So it's predictable at least.
There's Lucho Acosta on the dribble. Past the halfway line. Finds the feet of Leo Chu. There's Acosta again. Wants it in behind for Leo Chu. Breaks back for him. Lifted into the path of Musa. Justin Glide gets there first. All three of those involved in that play. MLS All-Stars a year ago. Justin Glad, Petar Musa, and Lucho Acosta.
I'd love to see Dallas players just make a little bit more of an aggressive run. Make some runs when the ball is at Lucho's feet, because he will find you. You just can't stand there.
Now Junca brings it up the far side for RSL. Third MLS team for Sam Junca, as he was sent by Dallas in a trade for Anderson Julio coming the other way to Salt Lake in the offseason. Playing his two former teams back-to-back as RSL is off a week in which they beat Houston. Here's a good chance maybe for Dallas on the counter. Lucho Acosta driving at the back line. He's got Leo Chu out to his right. Here's Leo Chu now, corner of the 18s. Faces up his man, gets to the byline. And does he win a corner? He does. You can hear what the fans in Salt Lake thought about it, but Leo Chu doing well just to win the corner there. Second of the night for Dallas.
Not still early, but I think Leo Chu's had some good touches so far. That was Romero who picked somebody's pocket there to get that thing going, and it was 3-on-3, and the ball was at Lucho Acosta's foot, which is where you want it. But as Leo Chu got one-on-one over there against Brian Vera, just couldn't get past him, but did get a corner kick out of it.
One concerning thing is Musa wasn't one of the three in the counterattack there. Just didn't get forward in time. He was trailing the play. Referee is going to hold this one as Acosta prepares a corner kick from the far side. Conversation there with Brian Vera. Sebastian Ibeagha putting pressure on him. Petar Musa matched up with Philip Quinton. A lot of height in that matchup. Two arms raised for Lucho Acosta on the far side. He's going to go short here, all the way back to Marco Farfan. Changing the angle now, bending a ball into the area. Flicked on header by Leo Chu, but off target.
A good cross there. Left footer swinging in from Marco Farfan. And remember, RSL not really good at defending their box.
The best way to experience FC Dallas soccer is with a season ticket membership, which has a host of benefits, making it the best option in sports, including a complimentary MLS Season Pass membership, discounts on concessions at Toyota Stadium, and much more. You can find the membership that's perfect for you. Visit fcdallas.com/memberships to learn more. RSL playing out from the goal kick. Now find Quinton on the near side. Square peg and a round hole tonight for Pablo Mastroeni, trying to make it work. Now Emeka Anelli, who could fill in at right back as well. He was a late scratch for RSL with back spasms.
I think Anelli's really a good young player, too. That's a big loss for him. Not as big as Diego Luna, maybe not even as big as Marchuk, but right up there with the loss of Marchuk.
Marchuk started on the wing last week in Houston. Looks like they're going to rely on the fullbacks for width tonight, similar to what Dallas is trying to do on the other side.
Now, almost 20 minutes in, neither team here has generated a really good scoring chance.
Coming into this one, both teams have conceded 8 goals, so you'd think there might be goals in it, but both teams also trying to figure out their new attacking patterns, different players in there. There's a chance maybe for Piol to stretch his legs, matched up with Uriguide once again. Uriguide ushers him to the byline, and the cross affected there by the center back, and easy for Michael Collodi to pick up.
Now, Collodi's had the ball several times, as you've mentioned. I'm not quite certain that RSL has had a touch inside the Dallas penalty area yet.
Collodi certainly had more than they have, without a doubt. As he fizzes one along the ground out to Marco Farfan. Back to Uriguide. Ramiro back to Michael Collodi. He's going to try and quarterback from between the two center backs here. Ibeagha into Leggett. Now back to Collodi once again. He hits the diagonal out to Marco Farfan. It's great weight on it from Michael Collodi, and now Marco Farfan invited to bring it forward up the left side. Early cross looking for Musa, who does get a foot to it, but good work there from Pablo Ruiz to bring it away from Petar Musa. And a whistle goes against Patrickson, who was defensively involved there with Ojeda. And a little bit of afters. Neither team really happy with this one because there was a collision after the whistle.
Well, such a good ball there a minute ago from Collodi into Marco Farfan to get that attack going, and that's where they really need a higher presence at either Chu or Petar Musa, because Farfan wanted to hit the early cross and just didn't have anybody there.
So Farfan commits the foul against Ojeda, and then after the whistle, it was a Piol, who went in with his cleats up against Patrickson Delgado. And still conversations between the two sides with the referee here. Didn't catch a ton of them, but Delgado's not happy by any means with the striker out of Duke. This year, MLS implementing only the captain rule. So Lucho Acosta talking to the referee, who then makes the box signal with his arms, which means he's headed over to take a look at it.
Which means RSL might be in big trouble here.
There were some afters, you could call it, that we couldn't quite see, so maybe something in that. But if it's the tackle, it's going to be potentially against RSL and Ari Piol.
Yeah, Daniel Radford has seen something that he didn't like. And, again, Boyko, there it is. It's right upon Delgado's top of his ankle. I think RSL's in real trouble here.
Well, if you remember the Brian Gutierrez stamp in the Chicago-Dallas game, it's very similar to that one, except for more contact this time.
The only thing that might save him is that it's Delgado that's sort of initiating some of the contact, at least.
Well, Delgado is getting a foot on the ball, though, Steve.
Yeah, well, you're right. And that's clearly what Daniel Radford's seen.
I don't think the Sergi Boyko. I don't think he gave a yellow card either. And they can't give a yellow card. They can only give a red card from VAR.
But if he decides.
If he decides it is worthy of serious foul play.
He's taking a good long look at it, isn't he?
Taking a couple of different angles into consideration. The game really could hinge on this moment here, 21 minutes in. Be a long way for RSL to play down a man. Referee still taking into consideration all the different angles. We're just seeing a freeze frame of the tackle right on the shin of Patrickson Delgado, who stayed down for a little bit, but then he was okay to continue.
He was mad, too. I'm not seeing Boyko's monitor moving, so I wonder if there's some technical issues there.
We've got to look at both the referee at the monitor and the VAR room. Referee now walking away from the screen. He's going to unmute his microphone and make his decision known to the crowd at America First Field.
Final decision, red card.
They're going to play a man short.
Ari Piol sent off by Sergi Boyko 22 minutes into the game, and Dallas has a huge opportunity now on the road. The young Australian striker sent for an early shower. And RSL already without so many key contributors in their 11, now without another one of their attacking players, and they'll play with 10.
You know, I got to confess, I didn't see it initially, but he's just over the ball. He misses the ball, and again, it is Delgado that's coming in very quickly, so I understand. But, you know, once you expose those studs, you put yourself in danger.
Feels like a little bit of swings and roundabouts with the Gutierrez one. Very similar play that I thought warranted a red card. This one right on the borderline, I think. But Piol ushered off the field in tears.
Yeah, it's one you can see going either way. But look, Dallas is going to play almost 70 minutes now, 65 minutes plus, a man up against an RSL team that's already missing a lot.
Mastroeni, I think, wants a conversation with the referee he's not getting at the moment as we now resume play.
And I mentioned a minute ago, RSL still hasn't had a touch inside the Dallas penalty area. Well, that's strange. It looks like it's going to be a free kick because of Marco Farfan original foul.
So the coming together after the whistle sounds cost RSL here as Piol sent off, and now it's 11 against 10. And Delgado wins it off of Quinton into the feet of Musa, holding off his defender, looking for options. And wins a free kick from Ojeda. And Ojeda with an extra shove there against Musa.
Yeah, Musa's got to be careful.
And now this game's got a little bit of extra spice in Sandy. That's Ojeda completely coming through the back of Musa there.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything that Musa did wrong on second look.
This will be an attacking set play. Now it's a chance to lift it into the box. Height advantage, I think, goes the way of Salt Lake purely based on having Quinton in the 11 tonight. Former Columbus Crew towering center back.
Pablo Ruiz just got himself in trouble.
He picks up a yellow card, standing too close and preventing the free kick.
No, he picked up a yellow card, for that, but also as Boyko told him to back up, he Give him a little hand gesture. Not the hand gesture, but one that was bad enough.
He's got his two middle fingers taped together, so it would have been difficult for him.
He's got another hand, Ryan.
Gesture. Mastroeni now in conversation with the fourth official as we await the free kick. Elton Garcia getting an earful from the fifth-year RSL head coach.
I was in the stadium in 2006 when Pablo Mastroeni, in a tackle that looked a lot like that, got himself thrown out against Italy.
Dallas goes short, and they switch it across to Shaq Moore now via Ramiro. Shaq Moore closed down by Ajago. Ball sent in, looking for Musa. Breaks for Delgado, top of the box, and he drags his shot wide. Big opportunity there.
I don't know if we call that a big chance, but first real scoring chance, I would say, for either team. Delgado's ball just bouncing up on him, and he couldn't hit it cleanly at about 18 yards.
One of Delgado's goals last season coming against RSL at home. And with 4 goals and 3 assists in his season on loan at FC Dallas, prompting the club to make that loan a permanent deal from Independiente del Valle. Here he is, got it again, and he's got Dallas up a man as he drew that red card foul from Piol. Big opportunity for him as Dallas getting the likes of Show back, getting Kaique into the game day squad for the first time. They're about to get some more depth in midfield. Here's Acosta up the left side. Give and go with Farfan. Breaks for Musa now 30 yards out centrally. Skips past one. And then whistled for a foul against Brian Vera.
And Musa just picked up a silly yellow card for kicking the ball away. He's just got to control his emotions a little bit better.
And a yellow card for somebody, I believe, on the RSL bench as well. Maybe Pablo Mastroeni, who's now fiery back at the referee.
I don't know what Pablo Mastroeni would be so upset about. Musa kicked the ball away. He got a yellow card.
Musa could be upset about the whistle that went against him. Obviously, he was. Enough to kick that ball away. And now he's going to have to walk a tightrope the rest of the game. 28th minute, Musa picks up Dallas's first booking of the evening. A lot for Sergio Boyko and the refereeing crew to deal with here 28 minutes in, maybe more so than any real quality we've seen in terms of the run of play. And now another whistle, this time against Ramiro, right in front of Pablo Mastroeni. Free kick taken quickly, short for RSL, back to Rafa Cabral. Cabral just going to stand on the ball here with no pressure on him, and now the game state has changed. RSL has to be more conservative, down a man at home. Good header from Quentin down the line, looking for Ruiz. Delgado puts it out of play. Eric Quill waving his team over, try and compact the space around where this throw-in is going to be taken. Quentin tried to buy 30 yards of real estate up the right side there. Now waved back by the referee to take the throw. Quinn gives it away there to Leo Chu. Sorry, that's Lucho Acosta. Trying to combine with Musa in tight space. Here's Acosta past one. Acosta goes down, holding his face. As Ojeda's whistled for a high arm there. Nobody's happy right now. I mean, Dallas fans will be happy that they're playing up a man, but referee's been in the fire here early on.
They kind of could anticipate this, though, because both teams doing something different, mix and match pieces in RSL, different formation, so you could kind of see a scrappy game developing because you just didn't think it was going to be one that was really aesthetically pleasing.
For the foul on Acosta from Ojeda, you have to consider that Lucho Acosta is 5'3", so the raised arm isn't very raised, but it was up near the face of Dallas number 10. Mastroeni just beside himself right now in the RSL technical area. I believe Ojeda picked up a yellow card.
I'm not sure he did. He kicked the ball away. He might have just gotten a talking to. We'll find out in a minute.
Acosta building up from deep now, finds Delgado. Delgado ahead to Leo Chu centrally, 30 yards out, finds Musa now, edge of the 18, scooped into the path of Leggett. Oh, what a save from Cabral. Great build-up from Dallas, and they still have it inside the 18. Moore digs out the cross towards the back post. Retrieved by Marco Farfan. Poked out for a corner by Ruiz. What a save from the veteran Brazilian. Sebastian Leggett denied. Leo Chu had it centrally. Good pass to find Musa. Musa scooped it deftly into the path of Leggett, whose left-footed volley was stonewalled there by Rafa Cabral.
Would have been a pretty goal. Pretty save.
Lucho Acosta, third corner of the night. First one from the near side. Quick 1-2 with Farfan now. Air underneath it towards the back post. Too much air underneath it. And it's all the way out for a goal kick.
Lucho Acosta will have better kicks to the ball, I promise.
It's not his best service into the box. Dallas number 10 working with Michel on the coaching staff. Attacking set pieces now. Now talking with his front two, Leo Chu and Petar Musa, about the runs he wants to see ahead of him.
Really clever little chip pass there a minute ago from Musa, wasn't it?
It was. He's continued to impress with the service he's provided his teammates as much as the 2 goals he's got. He's got 2 assists to his name as well. Back heel on the far side brings some applause from the crowd. Now it's centrally with Ruiz. Ruiz loses out to the 3 Dallas midfielders, but it breaks back for Nelson Palacio and RSL.
Delgado really well positioned there as he tucks in from that backside. It's just what I was talking about that you have to do in that midfield diamond.
Palacio just about keeps possession with 4 Dallas players around him getting little touches on the ball, and now there's space for Philip Quinton on the right side. Delgado full sprint to close him down. Here's central Brian Ojeda. Loses out. The 2 number 6s coming together there, and Delgado comes away with the ball. Now Musa can take some space here towards the halfway line on the dribble. Finds Lucho to his right. Leo Chu there for company. Acosta drops it off for Leo Chu. Shaq Moore trying to stretch the field. Goes on the run in behind.
Sam Hale tells us no yellow card a minute ago for Ojeda.
Here's Lucho Acosta now on the approach into the feet of Musa. Quick give and go. Lucho inside the box. Goes down and penalty. We're headed to the spot. And more protestations for RSL. This time it's Brian Vera whistled for a a penalty inside the 18. Lucho Acosta wins it. And will he be the one to take it? We're about to find out.
Again, we'll have to see the replay here, but it looked to me like it was a nice little 1-2 from who? Acosta and Musa that ended up causing problems. Enough of a problem so that Vera, it's absolutely a pull. They can complain, but once you wrap your arm around an attacker, around his arm and pull, spin him around, it's going to be a penalty kick every time.
Vera with the left arm pulling the jersey of Acosta from behind. And they will check it, of course. VAR, who's already been busy dishing out the red card earlier in the game. 33 minutes in, it's going to be an opportunity for Dallas from 12 yards to grab a lead on the road. Looks like Lucho Acosta's got the ball in his hands after Musa missed late in the game against Chicago a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, they'll check this, but there's no way that somebody would look at that and say that is a clear and obvious error.
So Lucho Acosta, now the Dallas penalty taker. Some shenanigans going on from both Rafa Cabral and Pablo Ruiz trying to get in the mind of the Dallas number 10, whose first FC Dallas goal came that elevation at Colorado in that 3-3 draw. 4-time MLS Best 11 midfielder, 2023 MLS MVP. It's going to be so key to whatever Dallas can make of this season. He's got an opportunity here to give them the lead on the road. Rafa Cabral handshake with the referee. We're just about set for Lucho Acosta to step up to this one. He's got a 5-step run up dead center. Stares down the Brazilian now on the approach. Lucho Acosta saved by Rafa Cabral. The Brazilian diving down to his left, and the opportunity spurned for the moment for Dallas.
Uh-oh. I think they're going to say that Cabral might have moved early. We'll see.
There was a player down inside the box, and that's Philip
Oh, is that
Quinton,
what it is? Okay.
who's appealing for something against the Dallas player. But the referee's got the ball in his hands, walking away from the box, and he's got his hand to his ear. See if there's any encroachment from either the goalkeeper or the player to clear the ball.
His feet are off the line, but I think his back foot is still on the line as that line extends up into the air, so I think that's going to be okay.
I'll tell you what, it's not a great penalty from Acosta. It's very savable distance and height for the goalkeeper. And doesn't look like he's going to get a second opportunity at it, as Dallas now 0 for 2 from the penalty spot here in Week 5. Still holding the play, though, for a check.
Yeah, that looked okay to me, and they're playing on.
The boos still cascading down at America First Field. Big opportunity for Dallas there from the spot, not taken. Acosta winning the penalty himself, but unable to convert. And Musa whistled for a foul. Has to be careful on a yellow card. Just challenging for a ball in the air there against Quinton. So who's next on the depth chart for penalties? Or does it go back to Petar Musa now?
It's a good question, but somebody's got to. Yeah, that's a good save, and you're right. It's not a great penalty kick from Acosta.
Just tells you how much of a mental game penalties are, because you sit at training and watch Acosta take 10 and score all 10 of them. Put them in unsavable spots. Leggett and Shaq Moore retrieve ball in midfield for Dallas, and Shaq Moore goes down. Referee pointing against the Dallas right back. No idea how he could have committed a foul there, but he did apparently. Shake of the head from Shaq Moore. Sly grin there for the Dallas right back as we play on now. Palacio back to Justin Glad.
Officially, RSL still yet to register a shot. I'm still not sure they've had a touch inside the FCD penalty area.
Quinton on the charge up the right side, looking to change that, but his cross under hit. Ajago battling with Farfan. Last touch off the Dallas left back. And again, appeals that was the wrong decision.
I think it was, but Dallas they've gotten some benefits of calls now. They've gotten a penalty kick. They've gotten a red card, so they just got to get over it. And it's just a throw-in. They got to get past that stuff.
Switching ball from Junca out to the near side. Quinton wins the header, knocks it down for Ruiz, edge of the 18. Ramiro tracking back, able to win it back for Dallas. Farfan puts a foot through it out of play. Dallas yet to exert any real control even since going up a man.
Well, they did get a penalty kick.
Talking about control of the flow of play, but yes, they did have that golden opportunity spurned. It's Costa now 14 of 18 in his MLS career.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a lot of control to be had in this match. Scrappy.
Cabral with a foot on it here. In between the two center backs for RSL. Loose touch from Justin Glad, now closed down by Petar Musa. Ball cannons off of Justin Glad, nearly breaks for Lucho Acosta, and Steve, you're just being proven right by the minute.
It's chaos.
38 minutes in, scoreless. RSL down a man. Lucho Acosta's missed a penalty. Had everything but a goal so far in Sandy, Utah.
Or a shot from the home team. Sort of predictable considering everything they're missing in terms of attack and even drive to the midfield with Amela and Aneki.
Almost had it. Emeka and Nelly.
Yeah.
We're flipping consonants.
It's chaos in here too.
I think both teams would like to have Anderson Julio on the field right now in this type of game. Traded from RSL to Dallas in the offseason, but not here tonight. Here's Lucho Acosta now in the attacking third, holding off the challenge from one man. It's Palacio who wins it back. Acosta left on the ground. Expectant there of a whistle from the referee that never came.
Well, I think there might have been a foul. The problem is that I think in terms of giving the benefit of the doubt, Boyko may have just be out for where Dallas is concerned.
Now Leo Chu leaves Palacio on the ground. He stayed down. Quinton content to play on. Put way too much on that pass intended for Ajago all the way through to Michael Collodi. If you're just tuning in, Martin Pass away on international duty with Indonesia on the other side of the world, getting set for a game against Bahrain on Tuesday. Familiar number in goal in number 30 as Michael Collodi's taken that over from Martin Pass. Making his MLS debut tonight. Lucho Acosta along the right side. Exchange of passes with Leo Chu. Now moving centrally. Finds Marco Farfan here on the near side. Back to Patrickson Delgado. Urigide back out to Delgado on the left. Flick intended for Farfan just short of him. Quinton got a foot to it. Bounces back towards Osazi Urigide. Playing on the left of the Dallas center back pairing again for the second straight week. Acosta, ball intended for Musa. Ojeda able to hop the passing lane. Glad with a nice line-breaking pass through midfield, but Ibeagha steps in front of Diego Gonçalves to win it back for Dallas. Now Shaq Moore on the charge. Breaks centrally. Shaq Moore. Ball out to Musa inside the 18 from the left side. Musa steps past one, looks to return it to Shaq Moore. Cut out by Brian Vera.
I know Musa would have rather had that on his right foot, but he's in good shooting position. Should have just had a hit with his left.
A couple of shots on target for Dallas. One the penalty. The other one, Sebastian Lletget on the volley, denied by Rafa Cabral. You've got to say he's been excellent in the first half now. Both saves really impressive. Ramiro lifts it out towards Lletget, who's made a nuisance of himself up the left side. Now finds Delgado. Top of the box, Petar Musa poked over towards Leo Chu. Gets a shot away, blocked up in the air, and behind for a corner.
Oh, Leo Chu, one more pass over to the right. He had Shaq Moore making a little bit of a run on that right center channel. Didn't get his head around, didn't see him. Gets a corner kick out of it on that block shot, but he needed one more pass there.
Sets up a Dallas corner, their fourth of this first half. Lucho Acosta will take it from the far side. Third opportunity, put an out-swinging service into the box. Two arms raised, and they go short once again. Out to Marco Farfan, return this time to Lucho Acosta up the right side. Gets past his defender, now lifts it into the box, looking for Uriguide, who's wrestled to the floor. And the whistle goes against Dallas as Cabral got a touch to it. A lot of contact inside the area both ways there. As Acosta with some nifty work to get past Ruiz. And a decent ball in. And Uriguide just in a chokehold there from Justin Glad.
They're both pushing and pulling. Uriguide is actually the first to grab Glad. But again, I'm telling you, Dallas is not going to continue to get benefit of the doubt from Boyko because he's already given it to him twice. Deserved, I think, but it's just human nature. He's just not. He's just going to be a little bit more lenient with RSL now, I believe.
Rafa Cabral taking his time over this goal kick. I think RSL will be very content to get to halftime still scoreless, considering all that's transpired. Header straight out of play from Dallas, setting up an RSL throw.
We can talk about this at halftime, but right, this is just a game where they need one of their big guys, Acosta or Musa, to really step up in a big way here. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get points on the road for a third consecutive game. They've got a good chance. RSL isn't putting together much.
Another appeal for a throw in the wrong way. This time, Osazi Uriguide wins the appeal, and the decision is reversed. So Marco Farfan will take the throw instead. I think Sergio Boyko might be the first one down the tunnel just to clear his head after what he's had to deal with here through 43.5 minutes.
Yeah, the temptation might be to say that he's lost a little bit of control, but this is just a scrappy match with things happening, and sometimes matches just get this way.
Ibeagha on the ball in the center circle, finds the ball ahead for Ramiro, lifted in towards Leo Chu, header won by Vera, but bounces back out towards Sebastian Lletget, the right side of the Dallas midfield diamond tonight.
It's the second time Ramiro's tried to make a sort of a chipped-in entry pass, and neither one have been very good, and I think they just need to keep finding Acosta.
There's Marco Farfan up the left for Dallas, into the feet of Patrickson Delgado on the turn. Now Lucho Acosta all the way on the left side, ball in behind. Finds Musa inside the 18, holding off his defender. Musa, two defenders around him, and he can't keep hold of it. It's out for an RSL throw. I think I underestimated the Leo Chu, Lucho Acosta vocal mix-up challenge that they're giving me here with the starting 11 tonight.
You're doing great.
The phonetics of it all. A little bit of a frustrating half for Petar Musa. Picked up the yellow card, hasn't really done much towards the RSL goal. He's been a little bit tentative, I think, to pull the trigger.
Yeah, he looked a little indecisive there. That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Ojeda dribbles away from pressure, spreads it out wide to Sam Junka, up against one of his former clubs tonight in FC Dallas. Chased back by Shaq Moore to Vera. Junko again into Palacio, edge of his own 18, closed down by Leo Chu, who's going to have to clear this straight out of play. 5 minutes added on.
I'm a little confused because the eye test says that Dallas has had a lot of the ball recently, especially since the red card, and yet they're down to 31% possession. I don't quite understand that.
Got 50-50
okay,
on my screen. Just depends on which provider you're taking a look at, but that is a big discrepancy. 5 minutes added on here in the first half after the VAR review, the red card, the penalty. Dallas looking for an opening goal on the road. Are unbeaten in 21 straight games, leading at halftime. Going back a couple of seasons now. Under Mastroeni, RSL has been excellent when scoring first. 36 wins out of 44 games. Handball appeals this time against Lucho Acosta. Nothing given. Maybe a chance for RSL on the counter. As Diogo brings it forward. Leo Chu back defending. He commits a foul right on the halfway line, and he is beside himself. Throws himself to the floor.
I thought he got the ball pretty cleanly as well.
I think Diogo only had eyes on winning a free kick there with no support in the attack.
Well, again, you know, calls are going to go against you here and there, and Dallas just has to stay mission-focused.
Cabral brings it way out of his 18 and lifts it forward, looking for Forster Ajago, the remaining member of the strike duo that started this game. RIPO sent off. 23 minutes in. 2 out of 5 minutes of stoppage time have been played as Ramiro lifts it out to the near side. Delgado making the run. Ruiz gets a touch to it. Delgado then wins a header and then bangs heads with Pablo Ruiz. And Ruiz is bleeding and Delgado is writhing on the floor. No malice in this, but that was a nasty one.
Well, again, it was Ramiro trying to make that diagonal, and he just got too much air under it. And you know, he's trying to make these final third entries, and they're just not coming off for him.
Delgado's been in the thick of a few of these now. Again, won the header, but then just clattered into by the attempted header of Pablo Ruiz. Both players getting patched up now.
So one of the things we'll talk about at halftime, I think Leo Chu's done okay. He hasn't had a big imprint on the game, but he's done okay. But you wonder, you know, how fit is he? How much can he really give tonight, especially in a little bit of thin air, seeing as he hasn't played a minute this season before tonight. Dallas does have some interesting options off the bench, and you even wonder, even absent somebody running out of gas, will there be a little bit of a personnel or formation change at halftime from Eric Quill, because the game state really changed. And you know, RSL just has nothing going on attack, didn't have a lot going anyway, and now they have nothing going.
And will either team be forced into a change? Delgado and Ruiz going to have to go through concussion protocol. You imagine both teams might finish down a man here. As Delgado doing sprints up and down the touchline. Looks like we're going to resume play with Rafa Cabral after an offside against Dallas.
Yeah, Ruiz not only has to go through the protocol, he's got to get all the blood off of him.
Final minute of the stoppage time allotted here in the first half. Still scoreless out in Utah. Delgado jogging back towards the halfway line, ready to reinsert himself into the chaos that has been the match tonight.
So right now there's a lot of room on the field. It's 9-on-8 as far as field players go.
Clearance straight out of play from RSL into the Dallas bench. Dallas bench urging the referee to allow Delgado back on the field in what would become a two-man advantage. Now Ruiz, the handshake for Patrickson at the halfway line. They're both ready to re-enter. At the moment, there's a lot of space for Dallas, and Marco Farfan up the left side. Returns it to Lucho Acosta. Quickly closed down by Ajago. Now both players re-enter. And we're back to 11 on 10. Here's Musa along the left side. Cuts past one defender. Drives it towards the back post, just on the roof of the net. Curling effort. might have had Cabral beaten, but it's just too high for Petar Musa.
No, he looked more decisive that time. Little chop move, moves the ball back to his right foot. It's not a great angle, but he does try to curl it around and just can't get the drop on the ball to that back post.
I'll tell you, it was making the right sort of arcing motion towards the back post. Just needed another yard or two to get below the crossbar.
Really nice little passing lane that Lucho Acosta found there to play Musa into the penalty area.
I think if we can play 9-on-8, 7-on-6, I think Lucho Acosta might enjoy that.
Well, a minute ago when you said Dallas trying to get their players back on, you knew both players would come on together. If I'm Dallas, I would want the extra space on the field.
Thinking RSL might try and compact that space, down a man for so much of this game, even at home. Farfan on the ball here. We're past 5 minutes added on. That extra stoppage for the head injuries. Sazi Urguide goes long along the left side, left by Patrickson for Petar Musa. Musa across the 18, finds Leo Chu inside the D, out to Shaq Moore on the far side, left-footed cross towards the back post. Lucho Acosta rises highest and heads home. On the stroke of halftime, it's Lucho magic in the mountains once again.
Well, though he be but small, he be fierce, right? That's Lucho Acosta. Not sure how he did it. He is the smallest guy on the field, but he got on the backside of Shaq Moore's nice cross, and it was Shaq Moore's cross with his left foot, by the way. Petar Musa does a good job of keeping that play going. This time, Leo Chu, as he gets the ball on the interior, he finds that run, that little run that Shaq Moore is making, and then at the back post, Lucho Acosta is just pulling off the back shoulder of Quentin, and not sure how the shortest guy against the tallest guy comes out like that, but it did. 1-0.
Just about a foot, if not more, height difference between Quentin and Lucho Acosta, and it's Lucho Acosta who rises highest to head home the opening goal of the night. His second goal for FC Dallas, both of them coming in the Rocky Mountains against Colorado and now against RSL, and that will be the final action of the first half. So much to break down at halftime. Dallas taking the lead 1-0 into the break. They're up a man as well. Lucho misses a penalty and then atones for his errors on the stroke of halftime. We'll break it down on the other side of this break. It's FC Dallas 1, RSL 0 on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After one of the more chaotic first halves in recent FC Dallas memory, it's FC Dallas up 1-0 on a shorthanded RSL off a Lucho Acosta header after 52 minutes up at America First Field. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by Advocare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a few moments by the voices of tonight's contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But first, let's go ahead and get you tonight's halftime stats, which are brought to you by UMB Bank. Of course, the important one, Lucho Acosta banked home a header against the tallest man on the pitch, Philip Quentin, the defender for Real Salt Lake. That makes it 1-0. Possession-wise, at least shown by MLS's stat pack, your mileage may vary on that, 64-36. That definitely doesn't seem right to the eye test, so we will hold serve on that. 7 shots for Dallas, none for RSL. 3 of those on target. Obviously none for Real Salt Lake. 4 corners for the visitors, 0 for RSL. Each team has been offside once. You've had 2 saves for Rafa Cabral, none for Michael Collodi. You've had 8 fouls for Dallas, 5 for RSL. Yet despite that, RSL has a yellow card and a red card as REPL was sent off in the 23rd minute for a dangerous play red card after stomping Patrickson's shin ankle area. And with that, we bring in the voices of this chaotic first half, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And, it's very fitting. We had a lot of discussion points that we were going to bring in, and then Lucho Magic happens, and suddenly we're all feeling good. It's 1-0 RSL, right?
Yeah, it seems like it's very similar to what happened in Colorado. Obviously, the team was down 3-1 in that situation, or 2-0 in that situation, and then Lucho Costa brought them back to 2-2. But again, striking right on the stroke of halftime and in the most unexpected type of way, peeling off towards the back post, understanding the space, good service from Shaq Moore, and he didn't really have to rise highest over Philip Quinton because he's unable to do so, but his positioning was able to get him that opportunity to head past Rafa Cabral, who was excellent in the first half and keeping Dallas out up until that final minute.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it changes the conversations right now inside the FCD locker room. Yes, it changes it, but, you still want to exert control over the match. You still want to think about getting that second goal. You don't want to leave it to chance. If you just sit there with a 1-goal lead, you're leaving yourself open to something happening on the other end. So I don't know how much it really changes the conversations in there. Just it makes you feel a little better, though.
I mean, it changes our conversation at the very least. That's all I'm interested in. Eric Quill can handle that. I'll just handling what we got here.
That's fair.
But obviously, the big events. There's 2 in that first half. In addition to the goal, 23rd minute, REPL delivers a stomp to the shin, the ankle, whatever you want to call it, of Patrickson. They send Sergei Boyko to the VAR screen. They reverse it. He gets a red card. An already depleted RSL team goes down 1. But then about 10 minutes later, Lucho Acosta, of all people, misses a penalty. It's saved by Rafa Cabral. That makes Acosta, coming into this, he was 14 for 17. He's now 14 of 18 in his MLS career. I know this is not the large discussion, but Dallas kind of now has a penalty problem on its hands because Musa misses against Chicago, and now Acosta misses here tonight versus RSL.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves on that. Let's stay with. You're right, but right now let's stay with issues at hand. So I'm going to describe the red card a little bit different because what happened, it was serious foul play. Is the technical term for it. It wasn't really a stomp, but what he did was he went into a tackle and he got over the ball, and when you get over the ball and you're going into that tackle with your studs exposed, as he was, as Delgado came in and got the ball, kicked the ball, he also got the bottom of Puel's studs. And so it was, in real time, it was hard to see it, honestly, but as Daniel Radford, the VAR in Arlington, picked up on it, sent Sergei Boyko over to the screen. Sergei Boyko did take a long look at it, but it was serious foul play. It was very dangerous because that's a potential leg breaker there. It's as he got him just above the ankle there in the side of the leg, and it was pretty ugly. And I know Pablo Mastroeni didn't agree, but I think it was a red card.
Well, Mastroeni hasn't agreed on much in this match. It seems like nobody was really agreed on much in this match. Also, we get an update from Ryan, 54% possession for FCD, so let's call it 54-46. That feels a lot closer to the eye test. Speaking of Patrickson, Ryan, he gets his first start of the year this year, and he's had himself, as most players have today, an adventurous first half, it feels like.
Yeah, I think he was obviously involved in winning the red card, then he was involved in the clash of heads with Ruiz, and he's been kind of amongst the action at all times, but again, he hasn't been super clean on the ball, which I think Dallas is going to need from those 2 sort of shuttling midfielders, whatever you want to call them, either side of the number 6. They have to be clean on the ball, because if they lose it, then Dallas is going to be caught out in the bad way, especially if the fullback is making that overlapping run. So he's got to be a little bit cleaner on the ball, but he's always got a nose for being in the action, whether that's a nose for goal, he had a shot that was dragged off target, or a nose for a little bit of a scrap, and that's been important for Dallas in midfield in this half.
Do you think Logan Farrington is over there watching him be involved as he is, saying, wait a minute, guys, that's my role.
He's definitely had a sort of Logan type of half.
Yeah, he's going, did I lose my job? What happened here? Yeah. Another guy that's making his debut in the starting lineup and in general for Dallas tonight is Leo Chu, Steve. And, I don't think we really knew what to expect. And we don't know how much is in his gas tank. But I think you look at the 50-plus minutes we saw in the first half, It wasn't overwhelmingly good, but I think it showed those flashes of promises, did it not?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I wouldn't go anything more than that, but considering that he hasn't played at all, not a minute this season, considering it's a really different position for him. In Seattle, he was on the wing. I think okay is passing the test right now.
Yeah, I think something that was really encouraging for me for Leo Chu was two plays. One play, he receives it off a pass from Musa with Shaq Moore and acres of space over to his left because he was back to goal, but on the Dallas right, he doesn't make the extra pass and the attack breaks down. 5-10 minutes later on the Dallas goal, he makes that exact same extra pass that he didn't before, finds Shaq Moore, who crosses in for the goal. And I think that shows me that he's thinking through the game, because sometimes players, they're just out there and they'll look at the video later, they'll make those adjustments later. He's thinking through the game, he's understanding the relationships that he's building, even in Dallas, playing in a new shape tonight, playing in his FC Dallas debut with all these guys for the first time in game action. So that was encouraging to me, even if he wasn't the most effective, got a shot away, was tracking back defensively as well. So I like what I saw, and I think he's not going to be Anderson Julio, who we would prefer to see in this sort of front two, or even Logan Farrington, I think we will see in the second half, but he brought a lot to the table, and he's certainly seems to be growing into the game as well.
Before we look at the second half, I'll offer you two players that I think also had a solid first half. And Steve, you'll get first pick here. I think Sebastian Lletget is showing more of his closer to his 2024 form. And I think even though he's missed a couple opportunities, we're seeing a little bit more from Petar Musa, specifically going forward in that attacking third.
So when they play the diamond as they are tonight, you've got Ramiro, who is the designated holding midfielder. I think it gives Sebastian Lletget just a little bit more comfort in going forward. He's also got, technically he's playing even on the line with Delgado, so he knows that Delgado might be back behind him as well, so he can sort of read Delgado. And that also, as long as Delgado's not making the run in the penalty area, that gives him a little bit more comfort to do that. So I think you'll see him, just his position, it's maybe just 5 or 10 yards further forward, but sometimes that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think honestly the entire midfield four, if you include Lucho Acosta, I mean, he's more of sort of the front line, front three type of guy, but all the midfield four is doing well. This is a new shape. There's going to be these adjustments. There's going to be these moments. There was one moment where they were all caught up the field at the same time, but that didn't happen again, especially after the red card, but it didn't happen again. They made that adjustment. And, shout out to Michael Collodi. Hasn't had to make a save. He's been a lot more involved than you'd think for a goalkeeper that hasn't made a save. He's had 17 total touches of the ball, 10 recoveries, 13 of 14 passing, 3 of 4 on long passing. His distribution out of the back, particularly finding Marco Farfan on the diagonal, has been solid in his debut.
I think those of us who have the metaphorical Michael Collodi MLS clean sheet are feeling really good right now. But as we look towards the second half, obviously we're not sure the fitness level of Patrickson and Leo Chu, because neither has really had a lot of MLS minutes. It feels like, based on the fact there's going to be more space because of that red card taking a player off for RSL, that if those two players are going to come off, this could be a Siki and Sobling and Logan Farrington game. How does that hit you, Steve Davis?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this. Ordinarily, let's say, just for giggles, that Dallas retains a 1-0 lead into the further minutes of the second half. Ordinarily, you would say, well, that's the time to bring in a little bit more defensive help. We've seen them work in practice at a 5-3-2, sort of a closeout the match formation. But in this case, playing a man up against an RSL team that's had absolutely nothing going forward. You want to maintain that control of the game. You're doing great that way. RSL has had nothing to offer on offense, so I'm not sure they wouldn't add another attacking player and really keep the pressure on, keep the game in RSL's end.
If I know Eric Quill, he wouldn't mind going for the kill, especially on the road, and the way the team has fought, and they haven't gone to that 5 at the back look in any game this season when they've been ahead. So I would be surprised, like Steve said, if they don't go for the kill, try and get that 2-3 goal lead before they try and see the rest of the game out. And a note from our own Garrett Melser, a co-host of the FC Dallas Agenda podcast during the week, that's Lucho's 5th headed goal of his career. The first one was that one, DC United goal, assisted by Wayne Rooney, the full field diagonal ball. And that time Lucho really did hop on somebody. This time he didn't have to. But 5 headed goals in the career of Lucho Acosta. That's pretty impressive, I think.
About the same place on the field as I recall that goal, too. So maybe that's just his spot with the header.
A great stat and a great plug for the FC Dallas Agenda, out every Wednesday on the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed. A little bit of fun before we take a break here, Ryan. Obviously, Dallas has the opportunity to stack some goals. How high does the score need to be for you to feel comfortable giving the Pitbull Ka'ike his first MLS minutes? I'm assuming no more than 10 to 15.
Yeah, I think, and not just Ka'ike, but Eric Quill also said he wants to get Show his first minutes of the season, and he said he'd prefer that to be, obviously he'd prefer it to be winning, but he saw that playing out in a situation where they were ahead in the game. So opportunity to get both of those guys in if you've got a 2-3 goal advantage.
All right, well, it's FC Dallas 1, RSL 0 up at America First Field. RSL will play the rest of this match down a man after a 23rd minute red card to R.E. Puyol. That's going to do it for the FC Dallas halftime show. When we return, Ryan and Steve get you ready for the second half of action from Sandy, Utah. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa. Enjoy 36 holes of championship golf and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Hi, everyone. It's Paxton Palmacall, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Well, 45-plus extremely chaotic minutes down, and we've got a second half ahead of us in which Dallas is leading 1-0, as well as holding a man advantage after the first half red card to RSL. We've got word of one change, Steve Davis. That's Siki and Sabling in to replace Patrickson Delgado. What does Siki bring to this game, particularly one that seems to have increasingly more and more space as that half wore on?
Yeah, Patrickson Delgado certainly made a mark in the game in some different ways, but he's not as ball secure as Siki. There's a couple of times when he tried a couple of little cute flicks and that didn't come off. And Siki and Sabling is just one that will help them retain possession and hopefully retain control of the match.
Looks like by the looks of things, everybody else out to make up the rest of the Dallas 11, and they will look to extend that 1-goal lead given to them by the Lucho Acosta header just before halftime, as we're getting a look at the fans around America First Field out in Sandy, Utah, enjoying a beautiful evening of soccer, but maybe not from the home team perspective. They did not register a shot on target in that first half. Nothing for Michael Colodi to have to save.
They didn't register a shot, period. Not even on target.
And we get a look at one change there as we come out of the break. Tyler Wolff is on for RSL and Pablo Mastroeni. I'll let you know who for in just a moment as RSL take the kickoff and launch it long. Urguide wins the header up against Ajago. And the whistle goes for a subsequent header. Ajago going through the back of Ramiro. And we've resumed play, and just 22 seconds in, we've already got our first protest towards the referee. We're back. And actually, it looks like RSL will take it.
I think it was just an offside on Musa.
Getting another look at the substitute, Tyler Wolff, 22-year-old out of Georgia, son of former Austin FC head coach Josh Wolff. Looks like he's setting up on the right side for RSL, who launched this one long into the 18. Whistle goes for a foul as Dallas has headed it away. This one's going to be in shooting range by the looks of things. Ramiro makes his case. And Diogo Gonçalves is going to have an opportunity just a couple of yards outside the D, 25 yards or so from Michael Colodi's net.
Yeah, the foul was on Ramiro, and Not one who really needs to be taking right there. Yeah, he's got a handful of jersey. Oh, it was Marco Farfan, beg your pardon.
Luckily not inside the 18. That's one that you might not see given inside the 18, but sets up for a perfectly placed opportunity from the free kick. Diogo Gonçalves, the number 10 for RSL there with the right-footed option.
Just underscores the need for Dallas to be really smart here about these things.
Collodi about to be called into action potentially for the first time tonight. It will be Diogo Gonçalves straight into the wall. Nothing for Collodi to do as Lucho Acosta sends it clear down the field. Really poor attempt there from Diogo. Never even had a chance of making it past the human barrier.
I don't want to keep beating on this one, but still, has RSL had a touch inside the penalty area?
They got really close there ahead of that free kick being given, but don't believe so.
Yeah, it was not a good free kick. Not much going right for RSL. Sometimes you see those bounce off somebody's head. That one bounced off somebody's, I don't know, navel or something.
Chased all the way back to Justin Glad. Lucho Acosta puts the pressure on against Quinton. Quinton chips it up towards Glad, who's going to get this back to Cabral under pressure from Leo Chu. Quinton didn't have a great half. He's being asked to do a tough job there. As a huge collision. Ajago comes flying in to challenge for the header against Uriguide. That's the third time already that he's been late to a header. Uriguide now back up to his feet, but clearly a little bit dazed there.
Yeah, I
don't know how that's not a yellow card, to be honest.
I'm not sure either, because Ajago's not. He's not looking at the ball at all.
Just sized them up completely.
While he's up in the air, yeah.
You mentioned maybe some leniency towards RSL for the referee. I think that was on display there, since the red card and penalty decision in the first half went Dallas's way. Uriguide sprays one out to the left side for Lucho Acosta. Overlapping run from Marco Farfan. Ball into the feet of Musa. Musa turns back to find Lucho once again. Marco back to Siki and Sabalang, who's setting up in that same spot Patrickson played the first half on the left side of the midfield diamond. Ramiro covers up a turnover there from Marco Farfan now, and Sabalang lifts it ahead, looking for Musa. Glad gets in the way. Two RSL players collide, but they manage to work it clear. Ajago under pressure from Uriguide gives it to Lucho. Lucho loses out there to Palacio, but now Musa's on it. He wants a free kick, nothing given. And there continues to be no discernible flow of play as we're 4 minutes into a second half, which is following up a very chaotic first 45. Nice ball forward from Michael Collodi through the lines to find Leggett. Spread wide for Leo Chu, who now drives right to left into the feet of Lucho Acosta. Overlapping run comes from Shaq Moore. He's got space to cross. He whips it in low towards Leo Chu, defended at the near post by Justin Glad.
Well, Leo Chu had a good lane there and a good run from Leggett. Just didn't spot him.
Uriguide wins a free kick there from Diogo Gonçalves. Another tip of the cap to Michael Collodi for that ball forward, showing his range of passing.
I mean, he just whacked it on the ground at about 40, 45 yards, didn't he? Line-breaking pass.
That looks like a goalkeeper with some confidence in his first start for FC Dallas. Here's Leo Chu inside the 18 along the right side. Low cross towards Musa. Just a step behind the play there. And Rafa Cabral able to cover it up.
Yeah, good run there. Good communication between Chu and Acosta. Acosta showed him where he wanted to run. Leo Chu started making the run, and Acosta put a well-weighted ball there.
Leo Chu played with the likes of Nico Ladero in his time in Seattle. He's familiar with this type of playmaker. Tangle of feet there between Uriguide and Ajago, who comes away with it. And now he's dribbling back towards the halfway line to retain possession for RSL. Ojeda on the turn past Ramiro. Ojeda wants a free kick, but we play on. Spreads it wide to Sam Junka. Matched up 1v1 here with Shaq Moore. Corner of the 18, sets it back for Ojeda. Right-footed shot from way out, and it ends up way off target.
Just one little concern here is that a couple of times against 10 men, Dallas has gotten caught defending a little deep. And as you defend that deep, those balls circulate out into that area 20, 25 yards out in front of goal, and there's no pressure there. And so that's where, somebody can hit a really good shot or pick out a pass, and so Dallas just can't get caught defending quite that deep.
Be a goal kick for Michael Collodi. I was going to say that Pablo Ruiz, one that can really hit a shot from distance, but he's the one replaced by Tyler Wolf. Here's Petr Musa. Shot from distance for the Croatian. He drags it wide off to the left. That one from just about 30 yards out.
Yeah, I think I would have rather seen him play the ball into Leo Chu over on the right side there. He was pulling away to create a little bit of an angle for himself.
Looks like RSL's shape now something resembling a 4-4-1. Just the one striker being a Jago. Tyler Wolf brought on as more of a traditional winger on the right side.
Yeah, that's what they had settled into in the first half, but as you said, they just needed a little bit of width over there.
Shaq Moore makes an interception in midfield. Early ball forward finds Leo Chu. He's got runners out to his left. Finds Lucho Acosta now, approaching the edge of the 18. He's got Quinton for company. Marco Farfan, low cross in, looking for Musa. Bounces back out for Lucho Acosta. Ziki and Sabalang to Lucho. Down the line for Marco Farfan. He's got an opportunity to swing this cross in. Musa flicking it across the face of goal. And that one ends up just the wrong side of the post.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want, though. Acosta plays Farfan down the wing. Petr Musa immediately starts a near post run, and Farfan spots it, gets it to him, and just couldn't squeeze it in with that little flick. Couldn't squeeze it in that back post.
We know that Musa has some Ibrahimovic-like qualities to his finishing at times, and that was what was required there to get that one on target. Ended up just a yard or so wide.
Yeah, we saw one of those Ibra-type finishes earlier this year from Musa.
Nice header won there by Uriguide off the goal kick. Up in the air, Acosta again challenging with Quinton, who this time had position and easily won it, unlike on the goal.
But he panicked and just headed it right out of bounds, throwing Dallas.
He's looking up in the air and he can't find Lucho Acosta because he's not even in his peripheral vision from 6'5". Dallas throw in with Marco Farfan on the far side into the feet of Musa, flicked out first time towards Lucho. Quinton sends it 10 yards or so clear. Coming together there between Palacio and Musa, who stayed down as it breaks for Leo Chu. Overlapping run from Shaq Moore, but nobody's in the box with Musa down holding his head. And they will bring a halt to proceedings here to check on the two players, Palacio and Musa, who are both still down in some pain. Look at the replay. Palacio was the one that jumped, and as he was landing, his arm sort of got in towards the face of Musa. Or his hip even, as he got some serious elevation, and Palacio now holding his hip, whereas Musa holding his head. And in such a chaotic game, these are the type of collisions that tend to happen. We saw one in the first half. Both players involved in that clash of heads withdrawn at halftime. You wonder if there was concern for a concussion for either player with Ruiz and Delgado.
That's exactly what I thought too. It could have been that Delgado just hasn't played a lot, but it also very easily could be that somebody was. Sam Hale just said it was concussion protocol for Delgado.
Won't count against Dallas, who will still have 5 substitutes available. You'd assume the same for RSL.
Yeah, RSL would actually get an extra sub there, unless their subtraction was also concussion related.
Junca in a discussion with Pablo Mastroeni right now, trying to talk through things as both players receive medical attention. Palacio bent over but on his feet, holding his rib cage area. And both players with no yellow card, both players should have to spend, 2 minutes off the field? The on-field treatment rule.
Again, it makes it 9 against 8 on the field, and not counting the keepers. And I like Lucho Acosta's odds there.
And it'll be Dallas ball when we resume with Shaq Moore, the last to hold possession. Musa, along with the venue medical officer and FC Dallas head athletic trainer Quan Lee, on the jog off the field, as is Nelson Palacio. Both players a little worse for wear, but look like they'll continue.
And both teams do have 3 sub windows left, as they both made that change at halftime.
So we'll resume with a drop ball at the feet of Shaq Moore. And we will play 9-on-8 here, as both players will have to wait for a couple minutes before re-entering the match. Here's Leggett finding the space up the right side. Looking for options now. 2 defenders all around him. He's holding off his defender, and Brian Vera very well. In towards the corner flag now. 2 defenders to deal with for Leggett. And now help coming from Lucho Acosta. Acosta tries to win a corner, flicking it off of Vera. And he turns over possession to Sam Junka. Now Ojeda swings it over to Philip Quinton, who will try and take the space offered to him here.
Junka doing well there to keep possession inside his own penalty area under heavy pressure.
And both players who were off injured now back on the field. Peter Musa and Nelson Palacio, who's got the ball now. Maybe they don't quite follow the 2-minute protocol when both teams have a man down. Musa now putting pressure on Justin Glad on the halfway line, and he drops it back to the goalkeeper and Rafa Cabral. 57th minute. Dallas in front 1-0 on a Lucho Acosta headed goal on the stroke of halftime. Another coming together there between Ajago and this time Ibiaga, 2 Duke grads. Nothing given. Possession with Dallas.
I mean, Ibiaga got his head a little bit low, but my heavens, Ajago, it's got to be more careful there.
Not penalized for a few different comings together in this first half, or second half, sorry. Now up front, all on his own. As Uriguide drops it back to Michael Collodi. Ball in the midfield for Ramiro. Ramiro nearly gave it away, but Ajago commits a handball trying to intercept.
Ajago getting close to perhaps a persistent infringement yellow.
That's a high foot.
Just got a replay there of Ajago. If Ajago makes contact there, he's off as well, because he's got his cleats exposed into Ibiaga's head, and I think he just barely missed it.
RSL deep in their striker depth chart after they sold Chicho Arango to San Jose in the summer. They tried to sign a replacement, then he decided he didn't want to show up. Here's Musa, low cross in, looking for Shaq Moore, covered up by Rafa Cabral.
Musa's passing so good this year. That time he just didn't get the weight right.
Another long ball from Cabral looking for Ajago. Both Dallas center backs combined to head this one back to Michael Collodi. But they've got 2 strikers, neither one really proven at this level. One of them sent off already tonight. It's a big ask for Forster Ajago, who does have 1 goal in 4 games this season.
Collodi just holding the ball. He doesn't have to. He'll pick it up as soon as he gets a little bit of pressure, which finally comes. Crowd not happy with that, but Collodi just wanted to draw one player out.
Short memory from the crowd, because Rafa Cabral is doing that right before halftime as well for the other side. Leggett wins a free kick just on the Dallas side of halfway. Assuming, of course, all crowds are unbiased.
They pay their money. They're fans. They're allowed to be. We have to be a little bit unbiased, but the fans don't have to be.
Free kick taken short, and Sabaleng combines with the Jet. Nice 1-2 through midfield. Now he spreads it out wide. Lot of space for Marco Farfan on the far side. Players to pick out in the middle. His cross cannons off Quinton. And an opportunity spurned there for Marco Farfan. And now a chance for Wolf. His first real involvement in the game. Brings it up the far side. Now cuts back to keep possession. Sam Junka, who was in the Dallas 11 alongside Marco Farfan for a majority of last season. Drops it off to Palacio, who switches the play.
I mean, if RSL doesn't have a switching ball, they have nothing at all.
And their number 1 method of operation so far tonight. They found the switch. They haven't turned that into anything in the attacking third thus far.
Yeah, they did. They just don't have a spark up there without Marchuca or Diego Luna, particularly.
Cabral on it for RSL, splitting the 2 center backs. The goalkeeper, Uriguide, wins the header from Ajago. Second ball breaks for Gonçalves. Ball trying to thread it through for Ajago, who can't keep it, and appeals for a free kick he was never going to get. That was a real opportunity there that sort of broke from nothing for Gonçalves.
Well, RSL is really trying to press up high now and force the game a little bit, but you do wonder how long they can do that. It's tough.
There's another opportunity for Marco Farfan on the far side. Space for him. He cuts back, finds Nsabeling. Another one who can pull the strings in midfield on at halftime for Patrickson. Here's Leggett now, driving centrally. Thought about a shot from distance, now cuts back, looks to his left, finds Nsabeling. Nsabeling into Lucho, back heel towards Musa, poked again towards Leo Chu. Leo Chu on the dribble, finds the ball back to safety with Ramiro. Dallas probing along the edge of the 18. Leggett again into the feet of Musa, back to Sebastian Leggett. Puts that one behind Marco Farfan, but just about able to keep it in play.
Leggett had a chance to find Lucho's feet there. I think he needs to do that.
Marco does. Lucho drops it back to the back four. Here he is on the right side. A little bit of time and space for the Dallas playmaker. Finds the feet of Leo Chu, balling behind looking for Leggett. And for Sebastian Leggett, that's not really his game. Easy for Rafa Cabral to come and pick up.
Good possession, though, by FC Dallas, and that's going to really start wearing on RSL. Remember, they've got a short bench anyway, so not a lot of good options for Pablo Mastroeni to turn to.
If you're just joining us tonight, Dallas playing in a new midfield shape. 4 midfielders in there in a diamond configuration. They've got some more midfield depth on the bench for the first time this season as well, with Show and new signing Kaique available for Eric Quill, we think, for maybe 10-15 minutes if the opportunity arises.
Yeah, it's Ramiro at the base of that diamond midfield. Leggett, now Siki and Nsabeling on either side, and Lucho Acosta up at the top.
Ramiro winning a free kick there from Palacio, who's picked up quite a few fouls here in the second half, now in the 63rd minute. Dallas has had some good results at RSL in recent history, winning 2 out of the last 3, 22 and 23. They have the most wins of any team not named Real Salt Lake at America First Field in MLS history. Helps being an original club with a stat like that. But they've played the 3rd most games, and they've got the most wins on the road at RSL. Leo Chu. Nice ball in behind, looking for Marco Farfan, and Wolf just about able to stab it away.
Boy, he almost found a gap, though, didn't he?
And now going the other way, Ojeda drives it past midfield, finds Tyler Wolf, returns it to Ojeda, up the RSL right. He's got 2 joining him in the attack here into the 18 along the right side. Michael Collodi gets a hand to it, an awkward one. I think he got a deflection, but there's the first real involvement for Michael Collodi, having to make a save of any kind. And it was defending the cross from the inline. Ojeda with a nice burst out of midfield.
Yeah, good job, though. He jumped out aggressively to knock that cross down because there were 2 runners.
Glad along the ground finds the feet of Diogo. Tyler Wolf, again, the substitute, making a nuisance of himself up the RSL right, and now he's won a corner.
So you see, right now, you can feel the game starting to sway just a little bit. RSL earning the first corner. First pressure on Collodi. This is where I'd love to see Eric Quill get a couple of fresh legs in there, reassert control of the game.
And there's certainly some targets to aim at from an RSL standpoint on this corner kick. Diogo will be the one to take. Dallas taking their time here with an extra ball on the field. Both teams going to make a change now. Sam Junka is replaced by Katranis, like for like at left back for RSL. And for Dallas, Logan Farrington, we called for him at halftime. Feels like his type of game. He's on. Assume that's replacing Leo Chu.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet, but I would be surprised if it was anybody else.
Lachlan Brook is on as well to replace Nelson Palacio. That's an attacking change for Pablo Mastroeni. All taking place before this corner kick, and that can be dangerous, particularly from a defensive standpoint. But Dallas gaining something aerially here, replacing Leo Chu with Logan Farrington, who will patrol the near post. Michael Collodi with bodies around him here. Have to see through the crowd to deal with this one. Some hand fighting at the penalty spot between Ajago and looks like Sebastian Leggett, who's tasked with defending him here. 66th minute. In swinging corner coming from the far side. In towards the near post, and first action for Logan Farrington. He heads it clear. Diogo hooks it back in. Ibiaga wins the second header, and Sablang helps it further clear. Ajago again late, and the offside flag goes up, but Ibiaga's down holding his face after Ajago, again late to it, just clattered into him, and I think he's gotten away with 4 of these in the second half.
Now this is where Boyko really has to have a talk with Ajago and lay down the law for him.
He was offside, so it was the correct decision to give offside, but whether he knew that or not, he also had his left arm raised.
Yeah, I think that's what Ibiaga's upset about.
Dallas making their first change since the halftime break. Logan Farrington replacing Leo Chu. Does that change how they set up in any way, Steve?
I don't think so at all. Yeah, Leo Chu was probably chosen over Farrington, in addition to wanting to reward his practice, his practice, good practices, but also because he can stretch the defense a little bit. But now RSL sitting back, I'm not sure that's such a factor.
We're going to look at this front two in tandem with Lucho Acosta pulling the strings. It's an exciting prospect for Dallas, who could use a second goal to put some daylight between themselves and the home team, RSL, tonight. And Sablang on the dribble through midfield. Musa helps it on towards Logan Farrington up the right side. Leggett, the furthest man forward for Dallas, as Farrington cuts back and finds Shaq Moore. Ramiro tried a line-breaking pass to Lucho Acosta, but it's off the mark.
Every time Ramiro has tried an entry ball, it just hasn't come off for him tonight. And at some point, somebody's got to pull him aside and say, just tonight, just find Lucho, find Musa. You don't have to be the one to be the playmaker. Just find their feet.
Dallas repelling the initial throw-in. Now straight back out for another for Brian Vera. Again, won by Shaq Moore. Farrington down. Coming together with Ojeda. Now Farrington back up to his feet as Marco Farfan brings it down under pressure from Tyler Wolf on the far side. Some fresh legs on the field for RSL. Dallas have to be careful here in their own half as Sablang nearly loses out. Musa wins a free kick in the center circle. Justin Glad overly aggressive. And just to note, Ajago did pick up a yellow card in the end for that latest foul against Sebastian Ibiaga. It was actually Leggett winning the free kick just on the Dallas side of halfway. 70 minutes gone now in Sandy, Utah. Dallas in front 1-0. Lucho Acosta making amends for a missed penalty in the first half with a nice headed goal in stoppage time. There's Lucho on the ball along the right side, dumped to the turf by Catranes. The referee plays advantage. Moore, nice ball into Farrington inside the 18 along the right. Cut back cross in towards Farfan, who's going to swing a right foot at it. Didn't make contact. Uragide in there to get a touch to it. Thought he won a foul, nothing given. Now a foot race between Ibiaga and Ajago, and the veteran defender for Dallas just shepherds that one back to Michael Collodi.
I agree with Osaze. I thought that was a foul there.
Feels like the pendulum of decisions might have swung too hard towards Real Salt Lake in the second half. Well, we sympathize with the referee, Sergi Boyko. He's had a lot to deal with tonight. Collodi, time on the ball, into midfield for Ramiro. Gets it out of his feet under pressure from two, but then Leggett can't keep it under pressure from Ojeda. Now Catranes into the box. Low cross swung in. Ramiro with the crucial intervention. Dallas nearly the architects of their own downfall there, but they have to concede a corner.
Well, Ramiro didn't do well in turning that ball over, but I'm not really sure it was a great choice from Collodi to give him the ball right there.
Second corner in these recent 5 minutes for RSL. This time it'll be an in-swinger from Diogo from the near side. Crowd on their feet at America First Field. This one swung in towards the near post, headed away by Ramiro. Service has not been good from Diogo, nor was his shot attempt from the free kick.
There's just not a lot going right for RSL, but look, Dallas has to do a little bit more to make sure they take advantage.
Direct ball from Cabral. Uriguide tries to win it back. Shot from distance. It was blocked easily. That was Quinton with the effort. Now Catranis breaks on the loose ball. Shot from distance, and Collodi thought about taking a touch, but it was arcing over the bar, and he let it go. Lachlan Brook with the effort there.
RSL definitely trying to make a game of this. Dallas on the other side, they've had a lot of the ball in the second half, but they really haven't made Rafa Cabral work in the RSL goal.
Lachlan Brook, 24 years old, another one out of Australia for RSL. Looked like some decent movement on that shot, but ends up over the bars. Collodi's now warned for taking too long over the goal kick, which he now sends long. Musa, don't think he realized how much time he had, but it breaks back for him after a whiffed attempt at flicking it on. Last touch off RSL, out of play for a throw.
Yeah, all that room tells me that RSL is starting to feel their legs a little bit now.
Shackmore will take the throw. He'll have to wait, as the referee's going to have a conversation. Some contact off the ball between Ojeda and Lucho Acosta. Dallas have found Lucho in more dangerous areas, certainly, than last week in this new shape tonight. Everything is going to have a caveat tonight, playing so much of the game a man up. But here's Lucho Acosta dribbling right to left, chipped ball into the path of Marco Farfan, who rings it off the bar up into the air. What a clearance from Brian Vera to prevent the goal. And some afters from Vera. He wasn't happy with Logan Farrington. Not sure what else Logan Farrington's supposed to do but try and score the goal there.
When he went for the ball, he knocked Vera into the net, and I think Vera took offense.
But Lucho Acosta with an amazing run on the dribble, setting up a shot attempt for Marco Farfan, who nearly had his first goal of 2025.
Yeah, look at the little feed, that little chipped-in feed that he provides for Farfan.
Who definitely had Cabral beat, and the shot off the crossbar nearly spun into the goal as well, up into the air, if not for Brian Vera. And both Farrington and Vera pick up a yellow card. Again, Farrington, what else is he supposed to do there besides challenge for the ball?
Yeah, he ran in from the back. I'm not sure it was...
Jago's got 4 of those before he got a yellow card.
Exactly, and I'm not sure it's a yellow card worthy, but it was a foul.
Farrington, the latest into the book alongside the RSL number 4. Don't think that'll be the last we see of that matchup. It's Farrington sitting right in between Catranis and the left center back, Brian Vera. Just over 15 minutes plus stoppage time to play here in Sandy, Utah. Uriguide under pressure on the dribble, clear. Sees some green grass ahead of him. Now runs into Philip Quinton, and Quinton just clatters into Uriguide, who did really well to win the free kick there, and he's got a yellow card for Philip Quinton as well.
Referee Sergei Boyko is going to have to ice his arm after this. He's shown that yellows and the reds tonight.
Uriguide bringing that down under pressure from 2, dribbled past them, then met 2 more players on the halfway line, and just got a poke on the ball, knew the contact was coming.
I mean, he's well past Quinton there. Quinton just takes a swipe at him.
Both teams teetering on the line of ill discipline tonight. Red card shown back in the 23rd minute to Ari Piol of RSL. You have to say have had the better of the most recent 5 or 10 minutes, despite the disadvantage numerically.
Yeah, I've got 5 yellow cards now, and with that one going to... Actually, that's 6 now.
Lucho, nice ball forward into the feet of Leggett. Finds Musa. Back heel looking for Marco Farfan. Not on the same page there. And now RSL look to break up the far side, but Uriguide just stronger than Ajago. Shields him off the ball.
Yeah, Ajago having to be careful now carrying the yellow.
Ramiro plays it safe, plays it simple. Out to Marco Farfan. Down the line for Lucho. First touch ball. Quick exchange with Musa. And now Ramiro, who will switch it over to Siki and Sabaling. Ball ahead to Logan Farrington, who can drive infield. Shrugs off Catranis. Finds Lucho Acosta. Always a good idea. Dropped off for Siki and Sabaling. Ball into the 18, through legs, finds Leggett. Oh, what a save again. Cabral denies Leggett for the second time.
Now, wonderful little slipped-in ball there, played by Siki and Sabeling. Leggett doing a good job of getting it out from underneath his feet, turning and just watching that ball roll by the back post. Good save there by Cabral.
Leggett slams the turf in frustration. He's been so close to his first goal of the season on 2 occasions tonight, if not for the veteran Brazilian goalkeeper.
That might have been his best save tonight.
Results in a corner kick. Lucho Acosta to take from the far side. Left arm raised. Keeping the runs inside the 18. This one with some good pace on it towards the back post. Headed all the way back through. And Quinton gets a telling touch, but Vera has to put it behind for another corner. Saw what they were trying to do there. Head it back across, but just no one with the finishing touch back at the near post. And we'll do it all again.
Good delivery that time from Acosta.
Again, left arm raised. A lot of movement around the 6-yard box towards the back post. So that one not up to standard that he showed moments ago.
Was he trying the Olympico?
I think he was. Maybe he and Michelle had a chatter. Maybe you saw the video we put out on the FC Dallas TikTok in which he practices an Olympico every single day after training with Juan Pedrinho and managed to convert it this week. Not that time. Not under the bright lights at America First Field. Another set piece opportunity for RSL. This one 20 yards into the Dallas half along the far side. Farfan giving it away for a pull of the shirt against Tyler Wolf.
I've got fouls right now. 12 for RSL, 10 for Dallas. Sure feels a lot more than 22, doesn't it, total?
Dallas set their line about 22 yards from goal here, just outside the 18. 5 players for RSL start in an offside position here as Catranes sends it into the box. Quinton looking to meet it, but it bounces through for Michael Collodi. Set pieces will be a real opportunity for RSL if they get them down the stretch here, especially with Quinton standing at 6'5", and you'd think eager to make amends after he was beaten to a header by Lucho Acosta in the first half.
That's why Dallas it's important they keep possession as much as possible.
Nice ball down the line from Shaq Moore, and it's Lucho Acosta who picks it up along the right side. Both strikers inside the 18. He lifts it in towards Musa, who will retrieve it. Quinton scrambling a little bit as Musa's chased towards the corner flag on the far side. Drops it back to Marco Farfan. Dallas do well here just to keep possession, keep RSL running defensively, moving from left to right. Now Urguide. Good ball under pressure into Ramiro. Leggett gets it wide for Lucho Acosta. Lucho Acosta driving in field. Now on the edge of the 18. Finds Farrington. Flicked back for Siki and Sabeling. Shot on target and across the turf, but covered up by Rafa Cabral. Dallas going closer now.
Yeah, that was all created by Lucho Acosta getting the ball on the right wing, dribbling aggressively into the center. They try to slip something in, but it ends up bouncing right into the feet of Siki and Sabeling, who got a good sting on that shot, but put it right at Cabral. Shots now favoring Dallas 13-3.
80 minutes gone, 10 plus stoppage time to go. RSL after a good spell. Dallas answering with the most recent shots on target. Here's RSL going direct. Header won by Ibiaga. Into the path of Ramiro. Finds Ensabling. Back to Marco Farfan with no pressure.
Don't forget, if anybody joined us late, Dallas has been playing with a man advantage since the 23rd minute.
Ensabling nearly caught on it there. Fouled by Ajago. You got to think Pablo Mastroeni needs a striker on the field, but he needs a striker next week too. And Ajago is going to be replaced by the looks of things. Interestingly enough, for a center back, Kobe Henry on loan from France. The young American center back is on. This may indicate a change of shape. It may indicate Justin Glad or Philip Quinton at striker. We'll see. There's definitely shortened numbers in the attack. Dallas can't quite say the same as Musa barreling through bodies into the 18, just left the ball behind. And now Dallas put the pressure on high up the field, and Sabalang and Lucho fighting for it. Vera sends it clear.
I mean, look, it could still happen, but as far as attempts on target, it just really hasn't been Moose's night, has it? Still made a couple of nice passes, though.
Looks like Kobe Henry's gone to the 9. Kobe Henry, who played midweek, including getting sent off in the Open Cup, playing for Salt Lake's second team, Real Monarchs, as they drop to amateur side El Farolito 3-1. The Burrito Boys out of the Pacific Northwest, starting to build their folklore in the Open Cup. Kobe Henry played over 100 minutes in that one as a center back, and now he's up front as the 9 in a needs-must situation for Pablo Mastroeni. Quinton goes long, looking for Catranis, who tracks it down before it runs out of play. His cross blocked by Shaq Moore. Another ball swung into the box. Collodi with a flying punch to put it out for a throw on the far side. Good work there from the keeper on debut.
Yeah, Collodi hasn't had a lot to do tonight, but when he's been called on, he's been solid.
And now with Kobe Henry, another aerial target on these type of set pieces. They're going to try and line up a long throw here. Some big bodies for Dallas to deal with. Vera up from the back. Glad up from the back. Quinton as well. It's allowed to bounce in the box for Kobe Henry. Still not cleared. Kobe Henry fighting for it. Dallas eventually stab it clear, and Musa launches it long. All the way through to Rafa Cabral. Diogo again launches it long towards the front line. Second ball bounces for Lachlan Brook. Lachlan Brook curling ball towards the back post. Collodi gave it a dive, but it's wide. Don't think Collodi was 100% sure it wasn't going to get a touch on the way through.
I think this is where Eric Kuhl maybe needs to make one more substitution, get some more fresh legs in there, because again, you know, we said a while ago RSL was starting to press its case. Farrington comes in, Dallas sort of reasserts control, but one more time.
Lachlan Brook, a couple of shots since coming on as a substitute. Both managers pushing the buttons here down the stretch. Farfan and Wolf fighting for it on the far side. Gonsalves back to Quinton. Dallas in defensive shape here. Mastroeni's hand certainly depleted tonight with Diego Luna away with the U.S. national team and the red card early in the first half. His team starting to build some pressure here as we enter the final 5 minutes. Quinton swings across in all the way through, breaks for Ojeda, brings it out of the sky, but Shaq Moore stands tall. He'll concede a corner, but that was good defending once again from the Dallas right back.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't great defending from Siki and Sabaling over there. He's got to do a little bit more to prevent that cross. Just sort of casual defending.
Crowd on their feet once again. And swinging service on the way, but not quite just yet. Sergei Boyko going to have a conversation with those involved in the tussle inside the 18. Kobe Henry straight into the thick of things. He's matched up with Urigide. Trying to get the referee's attention about something the RSL player's doing. Now the ball swung in towards the near post, right on the penalty spot. Justin Glad brings it down. Oh, what a save, Collodi. Incredible reaction. And it's behind for another corner. Appeals for a handball waved away. And they go short. Catranis sends the left-footed ball in. Musa gets ahead to it. Vera wins the second ball. Urigide, some more distance on that. Now a shot from distance again from Lachlan Brook into an uncomfortable area for, looks like Shaq Moore is going to have to pick himself up. Urigide now back to his feet. Farrington wins a header. Gonsalves lines up a shot from distance. Didn't catch all of that one. Still not cleared for Dallas. All hands to the pump defensively. Catranis, another ball swung in, headed away by Ibiaga. Big coming together there. And the whistle goes against Philip Quinton and RSL. Quinton has got to be careful with that type of protest. You can hear it through the crowd mic.
Dallas does have a Boubacar that they could bring in as another center back to sort of deal with these balls that are just being pumped in now from RSL, hopefully.
I'll tell you what, the extra flick from Ojeda made that an incredible save from Michael Collodi, his first ever in MLS action.
Collodi's having a good match. Didn't have a lot to do in the first half, but he's had a little bit of work to do in the second half.
86-30 on the clock. Dallas still in front by a slim margin of just the 1 goal. As Collodi's ball launched all the way through to Rafa Cabral, who will just launch it route 1 out the other end. It's going to be a lot of this the rest of the way. Flicked off of Kobe Henry and out of play for a Dallas throw.
Yeah, which is why you do wonder if they shouldn't get Abubakar in.
Thought the referee might have been holding up play for a substitution, but nothing just yet. As Shaq Moore launches it long, Farrington wins the header. Looking for Acosta, who slides in, trying to take it away from Quinton. Didn't quite win possession back, but Uriguide does, intercepting the pass forward. And Sabling gives it away there to Ojeda, and a free kick conceded by Ramiro. He's going to pick up a yellow card, not his fault there, and Sabling with the bad giveaway.
Yeah, I thought Siki had been pretty solid in the last couple of minutes, so just maybe he's getting a little tired out there, which, you know, has been an issue with him through his career.
Ramiro, pretty obvious trip against Ojeda, but another chance for RSL to lift one into the box. This is with the 10 they've got on the field now. This is their best opportunity. Plenty of targets. Dallas again set up their line just outside the 18-yard box. Free kick from 20 yards into the Dallas half along the far side. Catranes, left-footed ball in. First header won by RSL. Second header on target, saved easily by Collodi.
Now, Dallas hasn't had possession, any kind of a spell, for 5 or 6 minutes now. They need it really badly right here.
Options on the bench. You mentioned Lalas Abubakar. Midfield options, maybe Show or Kaike. Be their first involvement all season.
Yeah, it might not be time to bring in the 19-year-old who's never played for you.
Eric Will's talking to somebody on the bench right now as the ball runs all the way through for an RSL throw. Whistle goes against Shaq Moore there.
Dallas just continued just to knock the ball down the field and concede possession way too easily, I think.
I think a little bit gun shy after a couple of near giveaways in their own half, maybe 20 minutes ago. They're going to take every blade of grass he can before he lifts this one in. Arrives at the edge of the 18. Ball bouncing, stabbed clear by Leggett. Ball forward, looking for Quinton. Quinton appeals for a free kick. It's never a free kick, and now Marco Farfan's got to put it out for a throw.
Farfan wanted Collodi to come get that one, but I don't know. That would have been pretty dangerous.
Throw in taken quickly on the far side. Wolf can swing this ball in towards the back post. Catranes goes down, and RSL just no interest in playing right now. They're just throwing themselves to the ground. Dallas with interest in a second goal maybe, but Lucho launches it long, easily dealt with by Gonsalves. The number 10 is the furthest man back right now for RSL. He's the quarterback. Everybody else, the receivers, as this one launched ahead. Looking for Kobe Henry. Shaq Moore wins the header.
Shaq Moore's having another good defensive game.
5 minutes added on for Dallas to navigate here as Logan Farrington on the receiving end of a late tackle from Catranes, who then has some words for Farrington. Just not impressed with the discipline of the RSL team tonight. No, Mastroini's got them up for the fight. Sometimes that intensity spills over. But as the clock ticks away, it's on the side of Dallas.
It's a foul. Catranes gets into him from behind when he didn't really need to.
And that's killed 1 minute of 5 in stoppage time here. Both teams coming into tonight conceding 8 goals across the opening 4 games. As it stands, Dallas looking for their first clean sheet under Eric Quill. Abiaga taking too long over the free kick, is going to pick up a yellow card.
You know, and when you do this, when you delay, it just gets added on. So
nice ball forward down the line towards the corner flag. Farrington gets there. Thought he won a free kick. This time the referee holds the whistle. And it's through for a goal kick. I think Farrington maybe could have stood on his feet there and tried to keep it in the corner. Just trying to be a little more unbiased. RSL bring it up the far side. Down the line for Wolf. He's one of the few players out there interested in putting the service into the box. Everybody else wants to be on the end of it. This one's lifted ahead. Collodi reads it right. Makes the catch under pressure from Kobe Henry, who makes contact with the Dallas goalkeeper. Shaq Moore lets him know what he thinks of that. As Collodi's down holding his ankle.
I see Dallas doesn't mind this, though. Just turn it into just a big chaos fest.
I mean, that's been how you'd summarize the night. Collodi's got his glove off. He's going to have to retie his shoes here a little bit tighter after tweaking the ankle. As the ball from Glad lifted in. Collodi pretty much uncontested, able to come and claim it, and then Henry just in his area didn't let him land. To your point, now we've played almost 3 minutes of 5 with only a few kicks of the ball. As Abubakar does now enter the frame. He's on now for Sebastian Lletget as Dallas tries to navigate these final couple minutes of stoppage time. Don't think it'll factor in tonight, but interesting note that Lawless Abubakar has 3 career goals against RSL in his time with Colorado. Most among any active Dallas player. He's on for a very different purpose, though. As Collodi is now back on his feet, gloves on, shoes retied, and we've got 2 minutes of stoppage time to go.
Yeah, I feel confident that Boyko's can add a little bit more than that.
Quinton heads it back to Rafa Cabral. Credit to RSL, who've been able to build pressure as this game is worn down. Another one launched forward, another header won by Urigide against Kobe Henry, the deputy striker. It's really a center back, but that's the situation for RSL right now. Ball out of play, 93:45 on the clock. Ball at the halfway line with Justin Glad. I'll also be happy to have it here. As it switched across to Brian Vera. Vera drives past Logan Farrington, now sends a left-footed ball in, edge of the 18, header won by Lachlan Brook, with all the way through without a touch for a goal kick. Kobe Henry retrieves the ball, gets it back in position for Collodi to take.
I remember Collodi in the North Texas games when they were ahead, really milking the clock, and you know, there's just a fine line you have to walk because you want to eat up a little bit of time, but you don't want to antagonize the referee.
Collodi now launches it long. Whistle goes against Logan Farrington, who was challenging for it. And now he'll turn and sprint back along with the rest in Dallas uniforms tonight. Brought forward by Gonçalves. Chips it forward. First header by Abubakar won, and with some good distance behind it as well. Breaks back for Gonçalves. Deflected up in the air. Farrington just going to send this one clear. As we hit 95 minutes played, how much time will the referee add on to the added on? Cabral launches it long. Header won by Farrington. Ahead towards Musa, who's offside. We play on. Maybe one last heave forward for RSL. Loose touch, though, from Quinton. And Acosta got in the way. And Quinton's already been booked. But Acosta is going to be the one to pick up a yellow card here. The referee says for simulation.
I think that's unfair.
I think they need to take another look at it because it'd be denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity if it was a foul by Quinton. Maybe it's not a foul by Quinton, but Acosta just losing his balance, understandable in that situation. But we play on. Over a minute past the 95, and that will do it. Dallas holds on. Oh, no, referee put his arm up in the air for offside. As we go a little early there with that one. Usually the referee bringing the game to an end puts the arm up in the air and then points to the middle. Got pump faked that time. Collodi launches it long. No name attached. It's all the way out. And that will do it. 96-24 played. The one goal scored by Lucho Acosta in first half stoppage time. And Dallas have more road wins in 2025 than they did in total in 2024. The road dogs for Eric Quill go and get all 7 points in these opening 5 games. And we will break it down on the post-game show. Steve, that one, especially down the stretch, was a gutsy win.
They don't always have to be pretty, and this one certainly wasn't, but it's a win on the road.
Lucho Acosta, the match winner tonight for Dallas, and we'll talk about it more on the other side of this break. Thank you so much for joining us here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. Post-game show coming up on YouTube and the FC Dallas app. But FC Dallas wins this one 1-0 on the road at RSL.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
3 matches on the road, undefeated for FC Dallas as they pull out a gutsy win 1-0 tonight over RSL up at America First Field. Hello everybody, it is the FC Dallas postgame show brought to you this evening by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in a few moments by the voices of tonight's victory, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But let's start with our postgame highlight. There is only one after a 23rd minute red card by Ari Piol for Real Salt Lake. Dallas had the man advantage for the rest of the game, but the only time they really took advantage was in the 52nd minute, or in more specifically the 7th minute of stoppage time in the first half, when Lucho Acosta did this.
Sazi Urguide goes long along the left side, left by Patrickson for Petter Musa. Musa across the 18, finds Leo Chu inside the D, out to Shaq Moore on the far side, left-footed cross towards the back post. Lucho Acosta rises highest and heads home. On the stroke of halftime, it's Lucho magic in the mountains once again.
Lucho Acosta, his second goal of the season so far, a header against a 6'5 center back, because that's the goal this particular game demanded. Let's get you to tonight's postgame stats, brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession goes the way of FC Dallas, 55-45, 15 shots for the Toros, 9 at home for RSL, 5-2 the shots on goal differential there. 6 corners for Dallas, 4 for RSL. You had 4 saves tonight from Rafa Cabral, just 2 from Michael Collodi in his first MLS start and his first MLS clean sheet. 30 total fouls, 15 apiece for each side. 4 yellow cards for RSL, 5 for FCD. 1 red card, as the mentioned, Ari Piol in the 23rd minute. As we bring in the voices of the victory tonight, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And boy, that was bowling shoe ugly up there, lads, at times. But all it says in the win column is 1, and all it says in the points column is 3.
And how about Michael Collodi? He just got the Fought Mob Man of the Match statistically, and he didn't have much to do in the first half, but he was solid with his distribution. But congratulations to the Dallas homegrown, the first ever homegrown keeper to win in his debut, and he does it on the road, making a couple of huge saves down the stretch.
Not a lot to do in the first half, but the second half got pretty busy there, especially in the last 25 minutes where I thought he was really good and coming out to punch the one ball, coming out to catch a couple of others, had one really good save on a deflected shot. The one where he got out aggressively and cut out a low cross that was about to flash across his area. So really great debut tonight for Michael Collodi.
Have a feeling you might be hearing from him real soon on the FC Dallas agenda after a performance like that.
We can book it. He will be on the show this week.
Okay, there you go. That's Ryan making that promise, not me. But, it was obviously, before we talk about some of the specific players, this was not a demonstration of a beautiful game. This was, Steve, a chaos game. There was 30 total fouls, 9 yellow cards, a red card. This is not a pretty game, but if you're FC Dallas, you've got to be happy about it because A, it's a road win, and B, it was a tight margin all the way through, even after you scored the goal.
Yeah, look, you could have always predicted that this was going to be a scrappy game because Dallas was using a different formation, a couple of debuting players. RSL, they were really having to mix and match and put a lineup together. And then we know that Pablo Mastroeni, he really leans into that human spirit thing that we always talk about with him. And so it was always destined to be a scrappy game, and it certainly was. And here's the thing, big pictures. We talk about it all the time where situations are going to come up in Major League Soccer because they play through international breaks or because they're playing a lot with some limited rosters sometimes. Situations are going to come up where you just have an advantage. Tonight, missing 3 key players, including Diego Luna, the heart and soul of their team. I know Dallas was also missing Martin Paz, but RSL was missing more. It was a situation where Dallas really needed to take advantage anyway. And then when they get the red card in the 23rd minute, you say this is absolutely, positively a situation Dallas has to take advantage of. And, if they were a little bit better in front of goal, Ryan, 2.4 expected goals, missed penalty kick, or saved penalty kick, rather, Farfan off the crossbar. If they could have, Cabral does pretty well on the Leggett shot, but if they could have been a little bit more clinical in front of goal, it would have been a little easier.
Yeah, I think Sebastian Leggett is walking away from this game wondering how he hasn't scored. He forced 2 incredible saves out of Rafa Cabral. So there were chances. I think the thing that Dallas will come away from this wishing they could have done more of was control the game, particularly in the second half when you think RSL has been playing down a man since the 23rd minute. They've got to be tiring. But I think the RSL substitutes gave them some life. Obviously, they just threw the kitchen sink at it towards the end with 3-4 center backs up in the front line trying to win headers. So it was one that Dallas will be happy to have eked out. They showed a lot of fight. They showed some incredible ability to win headers under pressure, and Michael Collodi stood tall as well. So the fight aspect definitely will show through more than maybe the control or the quality that they would have wished to have.
What you would have liked to have seen was just a little bit more composure in those moments. And we talked a while ago about how you have to learn as a team how to close these things out, and this is going to give them confidence. But instead of for the last 10 minutes just whacking the ball forward, can you have just a little bit more composure? Logan Farrington, instead of trying to draw the foul and sort of going down a little bit easily over the corner, could you fight a little bit harder? Just try to keep that ball, keep possession. Circulate it again. Make RSL chase you a little bit. Just a little bit more composure is what I would have liked to have seen. But in the end, they got the job done.
So as we kind of dig into the nitty gritty here, obviously this ended up being 2 games. The first 23 minutes where Dallas and Real Salt Lake were, even in players, and then 23 on when Dallas is up. How did you feel about the way that Dallas approached those first few minutes, and then how they adjusted after the red card came into effect?
It feels like a lifetime ago. I think we're going to have to rewatch and talk about it on the agenda this week, because I think obviously Dallas was sort of having these teething problems of the new shape, and there was one moment where they got caught completely up the field, and it was one-on-one. Now Urguide has shown that he can be the type of defender to put out a fire 1v1, and he did on that occasion, but that's not a situation that you want to find yourself in. But on other occasions, I think it worked really well, and there were some nice combinations, particularly in midfield, little 1-2s. We know Leggett can play those type of 1-2s with either a Lucho or a Ramiro. So I think there was positives to take, but not enough really to have any complete grade on how the shape looked when it was 11-11.
Yeah, and it deserves to be said on that one incident you just talked about, Urguide, he was really smart. He's really clever in the way he didn't try to win the ball. He didn't try to tackle. He just sort of shepherded it. I forget which attacker it was for RSL.
It was one of the strikers, I think Piol.
Just sort of shepherded Piol over to the sideline, waited for his reinforcements, didn't try to do anything, didn't try to be a hero, just delayed enough. So that was a really good moment from him, I thought.
It really was, and obviously I think we've been talking a lot about the defense all season, and it's hard to measure it tonight because RSL was down all the players who are mentioned, then they lose one of their strikers. But again, I think we saw some toughness and some good individual play. I've got two players in particular written down. Osaze Urguide showed, even when he made mistakes, he recovered them well. And then another really good game from Shaq Moore, I think, on both ends, but especially on defense.
Especially on defense, except also he supplied the cross with his left foot of all things. That turns into the game-winning goal, turns into 3 points for Dallas. So if it weren't for Collodi, maybe you could have given it to Acosta, but if you had told me that Shaq Moore was your man of the match, I wouldn't have fought you on it.
Well, right now we're fighting all the different stat platforms because Shaq Moore doesn't have an assist next to his name. As I'm looking at it on FOTMob, I don't know. It got a little deflection maybe, but that would be really harsh because he was intending to cross it to the back post. Certainly,
did it get a deflection?
I don't know. I'm just maybe giving some deference to the stat crew over at FOTMob, but Shaq Moore picks up an assist at least in my heart, if not on the stat sheet, and that's his second straight game, like you said, Sam, where he really locked it down defensively. He won his duels. He was excellent even in the air. It's not necessarily his strength, but he showed he could win headers. And like he talked to me about, at training this week, he wanted to offer more to the team going forward and show that final third quality. And he picks up the assist on the winning goal tonight. So I think that's job done.
I want to say there was one moment also where somebody came flashing through and won a header. And I remember thinking, I think that's Moore, who came all the way over from his right back spot into the middle to win an important header. So, yeah, good game all the way around for him.
We're getting a look at the highlights here and all the saves that Cabral pulled off. Maybe those are
Sebastian Lletget.
Lost to the final result going down 1-0, but what a performance from the RSL goalkeeper. Kept out over 1 XG, depending on which number you look at as we talk about all the different stat providers. But no matter what, the eye test passed with flying colors for Cabral even in the defeat.
I feel like the two Lletget saves, and we're getting another look at the second one, the one that I think that ball was destined for the back post, and Cabral does a really good job. But I think his easier save was the penalty kick. It wasn't a really well-taken penalty kick from Lucho Acosta.
Yeah, I think I have to hold my hand up after my pregame comments and say, sorry, Rafa Cabral. I was not familiar with your game, so I'll give him full credit. Also, speaking of credit, on the official MLS website, nobody has an assist on Lucho Acosta's goals, so
we're going to have a word.
Yeah, I think you write a letter to the UIL on that one because somebody needs an assist, if not multiple people. And speaking of Lletget, I think we talked about him. This was we asked in pregame, could the way the formation is changing, the way that they changed the personnel, unlock Sebastian Lletget a little bit? Again, with the caveat that it's 10 men you're playing against. I think we saw a lot closer to what we've been looking for out of Lletget because of the formation change, because it enabled him to be a little bit more like himself.
Yeah, well, I think you say, unlocked. It sort of maybe sounds like, maybe you're not implying this, but it sounds like, maybe they weren't getting enough. But playing as a double pivot in the 4-2-3-1, you've got more defensive responsibilities. And tonight, with Ramiro as the dedicated holding midfielder, it allows Sebastian Lletget to get a little further forward, and it shows you, he's pretty good at making those late runs into the penalty area. He's not Frank Lampard that way, but he's pretty good at it, and he showed you twice today that when he gets into the penalty area and has agency to get a little further forward, he can make things happen.
Well, how about this? So Patrickson Delgado played 45 minutes, and he came off with a concussion substitution at halftime. We hope he's okay, and it's just a precaution. But in his 45 minutes, 23 out of 26 passing, but then defensively, 5 out of 5 tackles won, 2 recoveries, and then duels won 8 out of 9. I mean, that is stuffing the stat sheet in 45 minutes, and I don't think that really stood out from the eye test, but he was in there winning battles, and obviously he won the red card as well. So I think, looking at the stats, that's even better than I thought he played. He had a couple of loose touches on the ball, but defensively, I mean, those are some big numbers.
It's a Logan Farrington-esque score sheet, isn't it?
It is.
No, I think you're right, Ryan. I think it's good to bring those stats because, I was making some notes, and I didn't really think by the eye test Patterson had a fantastic half, but you look at the numbers and yeah, he really did. I think another guy, and we've kind of almost blown by him. Hey, that Lucho Acosta guy is still pretty good.
We got to talk about him at some point. I feel like we're just all under the assumption that he's magic and he's going to do something like this every week.
Like he heads the goal home. He looked, obviously not at his peak powers, but he looked a lot closer to the Lucho Acosta that Dallas picked up from Cincinnati.
Well, I think I said just a few minutes before he scored the goal, I said this is where you have to have one of your big guys come up and do something big. This is why Petar Musa and this is why Lucho Acosta, it's why they're here. It's why everybody was so excited about that combination, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to do something big in combo, but Petar Musa, he was okay tonight. It wasn't special, and I don't even know if Lucho Acosta was special, but he had a special moment, and that's what you want from a game changer, from a difference maker, and you just needed one of those guys in a situation where RSL was vulnerable, they could be exploited. You needed one of those guys to come up and do something big, and it was Lucho Acosta tonight.
How about 80 touches for Lucho Acosta tonight? Obviously, the caveat of playing against 10 men, but that's been what we've been crying out for, is getting more of the ball to Lucho Acosta. And I think this formation did a lot better job of getting it in central and dangerous positions. And I think there's some positive growth to be had from continuing to get reps in this shape and him starting to get more chemistry with most likely Anderson Julio alongside Petar Musa in the front three. So I think positive signs, and I think this whole shape is designed to build around both his strengths and his weaknesses, and I think it definitely accentuated what he can do by getting him in those spots on the ball in dangerous areas tonight, and he's the match winner.
And it might have been different had Anelli been able to play tonight, but again, you got to play the team that's out there, and I thought Lucho Acosta did more than anybody else in terms of just making sure that once they got the man advantage, they were really applying pressure in different ways. Applying pressure with possession, applying pressure in terms of getting into those center channels. And it was a very narrow attack tonight, wasn't it? But it was Lucho Acosta that was driving that, and that was also to his credit.
And another side effect of that change is Petar Musa as well. We saw him, and Apple flashed up about 70 minutes in his kind of movement chart, his location chart, and it was much more central. And we had talked about, especially in the against Vancouver, how he was kind of all out of sorts. And he was still playmaking tonight. He was still trying to get the ball in, but we also saw much more available to do Petar Musa things, mainly scoring. And while he didn't finish tonight, you felt like he was much more of service in the offense.
Yeah, you also have to remember that he was also playing a little different role and a little different position, and so was Leo Chu. So, maybe the chemistry right there between that little central forward triangle wasn't ever going to be the best. But I don't know. What did we think of Leo Chu tonight? It sort of gave you my impression at halftime.
Yeah, at halftime, I think nothing really in the second half made much of an impression, but I was impressed that he made an adjustment in the middle of the flow of play where the one time he received the ball back to goal and didn't make the extra pass to Shaq Moore. The second time he receives the ball back to goal, edge of the D, finds Shaq Moore, who puts the cross in for the goal. So I'd like to see that he's sort of thinking through the game, making those adjustments, listening to his teammates, finding where the space is. And I think that was a positive performance, all things considered. Will it be his best performance? Is it his best position? I don't think it is. I think he's more of a wide guy to run it against players. And we mentioned his stats in the pregame show, much more geared towards assists than goals in his time with Seattle. So I think he's got a role to play. If Dallas plays this shape, it may not be to his strengths as much as like an Anderson Julio or Logan Farrington would in the front two with Petar Musa.
See, it's going to be one of those games, I think, if you just look at the stat sheet or maybe watch the highlights, you're not going to get the full appreciation of what he did because he put in a lot of, he did make the adjustment. It seems like he met the game as it went along. But he did a lot of the things that you're hoping for. He started finding passes. He was not afraid to get back and do some work. He wasn't MLS best 11 by any means, but the fact that he played 66 minutes tonight in a position that wasn't his. By the way, it's his first action all season. I think he had a really good game by the eye test, and he acquitted himself well of Eric Quill's approval in getting that first start.
Yeah,
tonight.
I think what I said at halftime was he was okay. And at this point, for all the reasons you just said, new shape, it's not really his position. First time he's been on the field this year. Okay is okay.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of those substitutions, obviously we saw Siki and Sabling come in at halftime for Patrickson, which did end up being a concussion sub. So hopefully that's just precautionary. Then we see Logan Farrington in the 66th minute, and then Lalo Sabubakar in the 90th plus 4th minute. And I think it's kind of a tale of three substitutions. Obviously, Patrickson, if he was a concern, got to do it. But specifically Farrington, I think right before he came in, Steve, you had even said, hey, I'd really like to see Eric Quill make a substitution. And I've even got a note written down in the 66th minute. Man, RSL is really changing the tide of this match. He comes in right before a corner. He clears the corner. He's the guy that meets the ball. And suddenly that wave really kind of dies down. I thought that was a really crucial choice for Eric Quill, getting that fresh face on to kind of help Dallas get through that moment.
Yeah, they sort of reestablished some control of the match at that point. Now, it waned after about 5 or 10 minutes, and maybe it would have been good to get another set of fresh legs on there at that point, but you're right. For 5 or 10 minutes, I think the Farrington substitution really did pay off.
Yeah, I think, down the line when Show and when Kaique are more up to speed and have minutes under their belt, they would have absolutely come into this game, but it was just a week or two too soon for both of them tonight.
And that's really sort of the only regret. I mean, look, they got 7 points now for 3 road games. That's outstanding. But if you find a regret, it's that they weren't able to get that second goal, which I think would have given Eric Quill the comfort to then put Show out there or Kaique and start integrating him into the team a little bit more. But, there's all kinds of reasons you wanted a second goal, but in the end they didn't need it.
Yeah, I think there's a world when this team is fully formed out in this situation, let's say in like August or September, where if they're trying to chase down a 1-0 lead, it's someone like Ramiro who's coming in to bring that high work rate for someone like a younger Kaique, but that's just not where they're at. So full credit to him. I tend to agree with you, Steve. Obviously, Lalo Abubakar comes in. He also immediately clears away a set piece, so 2 for 2 on that. But it did feel like, and options-wise, you didn't really have a lot when it comes to stabilization. But maybe 10 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier may have been the best use, but we'll obviously never know now. Obviously, this is a big win for Dallas because, A, they're now undefeated on the road. They've won twice, drawn once. This is a big change from last year where, and not just on
Polar
the road.
opposite from last year.
Yeah, not just the road, too, specifically. Teams that were depleted last year. How many times do we go into games going, team is missing XYZ, and can Dallas capitalize? Most of the time, at best, they drew. In fact, the Minnesota loss, where they were missing like 5 different players, is the one that preceded Nico Estevez's departure. That's a big improvement if you look at the grand scheme of things, I think.
No, that was the one I was going to point to. Is you had you're against Minnesota United too, and you couldn't come away with any points on the road. And tonight, I think this is the most depleted Salt Lake will probably look all season. Their fans will certainly hope so. But Diego Luna, you think he's probably going to get in the game for the U.S. tomorrow, make his competitive debut for the U.S. He's been a star for them, and they can't really afford to play without him. I think the depth for RSL right now is just not there, and I think they're in the middle of a sort of retooling of their roster in which they had to sell Andres Gomez. They got $10 million for him. They had to sell Chicho Arango because things weren't right in the locker room, and now they're sort of, their depth is depleted because of that. I'm still confused why they gave us Anderson Julio, because I think he would have been great for them, and they really could have used him tonight. But I'm not gonna. There's no takesies backsies here. Anderson Julio is going to be back with FC Dallas hopefully as soon as next week.
I'll tell you something else, guys. As you look at the record now, 2-2-1, I said during pregame, find a way to get at least a point tonight. Next week, you're playing Sporting Kansas City. Kansas City lost again tonight. They're in a bad way at home. Dallas is going to be desperate to get a home win. You could walk. I said a while ago, you could, if you won that one against Sporting Kansas City, you got to draw tonight. You walk into April 2-2-2. You're doing fine. For a completely rebuilt roster. Now they have a chance to walk into April, if they can win next week, 3-2-1, 10 points out of 6 matches. Not bad at all. And that would probably put them, I don't know, I said a while ago, you don't have to look at the standings, but it would put them probably something like 6th or 7th in the West, and you'd be doing really, really well.
Yeah, and I think we've been sort of harping on this on the different post-game shows, but it's important, especially that home game coming up, to get that first home win, but also because your April schedule doesn't look too easy. You've got to go to Atlanta, and you face Seattle at home, which will be an emotional one, I'm sure, with Jesus returning. Then you got to go to Minnesota, who looked good again today, and then you got to go to Miami. That's a very tough month of April.
It is.
Although I guess with Miami, depending on where they are in Champions Cup and things like that, who knows who will be playing for them? But you do have to assume that really good player for Miami, whose name I can't totally. Of course, it's Leo Messi, will be playing for him.
The thing is, their record is just as good without him as with him.
That's true.
They've got the deepest roster MLS has ever seen.
Yeah, there's going to be documentaries and books, put together about this team in the future, but we'll worry about that when we get there. The one thing left from this game that I kind of want to bring up is something that it's a running narrative. RSL really made hay at the very end of the game in two ways. One, being very direct because they really didn't have anything else, and two, generating corner kicks. They only had 4 total, but it felt like every time they sent someone over to the corner flag, there was a tension that rose because Dallas has struggled with it. Well, they survived the storm tonight. They were able to largely handle Vancouver, save for the one goal that came in off a cross. Are we feeling any better about that? Are we feeling it's in the right direction? I don't think we're going totally fixed, yay, wahoo, but...
you're not feeling worse about it.
Correct.
So
maybe that's it.
It's moving in the right direction for sure because they did get beat on a header at the back post against Vancouver, but you're right. They dealt with a lot of the high balls tonight. Kalodi was good. Ibiaga got his clearances. So did Osaze. So they can feel good that it's moving in the right direction.
I'll tell you what, this is not a dig in any way at Martin Poss. It's just funny how this has worked out. Dallas's last 3 clean sheets have come with the backup goalkeeper in net. It was Jimmy Maurer for the last 2 clean sheets of 2024. That was at Portland and at Vancouver. And now it's Michael Kalodi in his MLS debut at RSL. So Martin Poss is going to be watching from Indonesia and saying, what do I got to do to get a clean sheet? Because it's been nothing against him and his performance, and that just shows you that clean sheets are more of a team statistic than
he'll
anything.
Be back this week against Kansas City.
But he'll get his opportunity this week. Obviously, Michael Kalodi not going to win the number 1 job against Poss, but he did everything he could tonight to show well in his debut.
Yeah, it's exactly what you would want from a backup keeper who very well might have won man of the match tonight. A successful debut for the Dallas homegrown. Well, before we briefly look ahead to Kansas City and turn the open light off here, do we have any final thoughts on FC Dallas 1, RSL 0 via red card?
No, it was a scrap, and they competed and they scrapped, and we would have loved to see more quality and more control in the game, but ultimately we love to come away with 3 points, and we've got more road wins in 2025 than we did in all of 2024 combined, so that's something worth taking away from this game.
I listened to Pablo Mastroeni, the RSL coach, the other day, and he sort of talked about how in this league you can script out a match, and for 75 minutes you might be right, but the last 15 minutes are just all about who wants it a little bit more. Now, the talent you have on the field has a little something to do with that as well because RSL was down to a reserve center back playing as a striker. So there is something there as well. But, for the last 15 minutes, that was really where RSL probably went into that halftime talk saying, guys, just keep it 1-0. Give us a chance in the last 15 minutes to start throwing balls in there, and we'll make something happen, and we'll get out of here with a draw. So Dallas rode out the storm.
Boy, if you don't have tickets for it now, I might suggest picking up a ticket or two for the return fixture when RSL comes down here. I don't know when it is, but I bet that is going to be a fairly spicy affair if you like the more physical game.
I'd like a ticket right now to Pablo's post-game news conference because
oh boy,
he was so upset about that red card, but I mean, it's serious foul play. It was a red card in my mind.
It's not too long from now. Saturday, May 10th at Toyota Stadium. That'll be, it'll still be fresh in the mind at that point.
We'll all be there.
We'll be there.
FCDallasTickets.com, baby. Go get you some tickets, and if not, we'll be here. And we will be here for you next week when the Diamond Dogs return home. This time, they're playing Kansas City. And oh boy, Kansas City. Peter Vermees and company not having a fun time. They sell a lot of their players off. They changed their whole team, except they forgot the whole bringing in new players to replace them part of it. They're still working on that. They brought in a 10 from Spain that is showing some promise, but they lose again tonight. They are just adrift at the bottom of the conference. But Dallas is still searching for their first home win. If we learned anything from the first 2 matches, a sure nothing, work hard to get it. But that will kick at 7:30 here from Toyota Stadium. And it's a drone show night. It's FC Dallas at the movies. So FCDallasTickets.com. If you can't make it out, or even if you can, you just love to hear our voices, you'll hear our broadcast starting at 7 o'clock on the FC Dallas Radio Network with pregame. Ryan and Steve will have kickoff at 7:30. But that's going to do it for tonight's FC Dallas postgame show. FCD wins 1-0 up at America First Field against Real Salt Lake, their 3rd road result of the season. For engineer Barry Walters, for Ryan Figert, for Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor.